I'm Zach Snyder.
I'm Aden Matthews.
And welcome to another YouTube podcast, the one-stop shop for everything and anything related to YouTube.
Ooh.
We're doing this.
Sexy tagline right off the bat.
Yeah. Episode number 0.
Yeah. So basically what we're going to do in this little opening episode, we're going to give you a little bit of introductions. We're going to let you know why we're doing this podcast. And then we're going to jump right into our topic of should you start a YouTube channel in 2017. We're going to be going over the current climate, reasons to start, reasons to maybe not start, and a bunch of weird and wacky nonsense in between.
Yeah.
So, should be good.
Sweet. All right, Aden, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, let them know what your background with YouTube is and all that kind of stuff. Ooh,
sounds good.
And let's do a fun fact, just because.
A fun fact?
Why the hell not?
Alrighty. Okay. So, like I mentioned in the little title sequence earlier, I'm Aden Matthews. I've done a variety of YouTube channels for a while. When I got onto the site somewhere at around 2008, my introduction to YouTube was watching Super Smash Bros. Brawl trailers because the game was coming out, and I was very excited for it. And then after that, I kind of found a bunch of different channels and all sorts of people from gaming to vlogging related and inspirational YouTubers and whatever. And I really haven't left the site since. Currently, my YouTube channel that I run now is called Blue Couch Productions. It's sort of a variety channel that focuses on games, vlogs. We do a little bit of streaming, do a little Let's Plays in between, all that sort of fun stuff. Been around for a year, at least with this channel, although I've managed several others before. And yeah, I'm still kind of learning, trying to get my way through there. I'm at 250 subscribers now, but I hope to grow in the future. And hopefully I can offer a bit of good advice in this podcast that would not only help you guys at home, but maybe even help myself. Who knows? And as for a fun fact, let's
go.
Something fun.
It's gotta be fun. Kind of put you on the spot here.
Yeah, it's a little tough. I'm gonna go with the fact that I am a very avid lover of meat. Very much a meat guy. You know,
we talked about that.
Bacon. Yeah, we have previously. Bacon's probably my favorite kind of meat as far as that goes. But really, any meat you put in front of me, I'm gonna go ahead and eat it. So
yeah,
it's a little bit about myself. Yeah, why don't you hop on in there?
Yeah, all right. Well, the reason I said fun fact is because, classes are going to be starting up for me soon, my senior year of college. So they're going to be asking me that like 20 million times. It'll be great.
It's so the first day of school.
Oh,
Every first day.
Absolutely.
Is that. So awkward.
So I got introduced to YouTube around middle school. I had gotten the game Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for the GameCube, started watching some Let's Plays on that, or a Let's Play on that, and got intrigued in the concept of the format of video and started watching some other Let's Players. Incrementally have gotten used to tons of different kinds of content on YouTube, and so to this very day, YouTube I'm watching every single day, probably more than I should, considering I've got enough to get done as it is.
Right.
But it was around May of 2011, I started making music videos on YouTube, little covers of piano and guitar and trumpet. And then that December, I had started my current channel, Sabijan Games, where I did Let's Plays. And over the past almost 6 years, I've done a lot of different types of content to where now, currently, actually, like really recently, as of yesterday, because that's when this podcast is being uploaded, I started this current channel, Zach Snyder Productions, or you may be even listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or something. But this is basically the channel that I'm going to be using as a place for me to put my higher edited series on, kind of try to go bigger places with it. And it's also going to be a little bit of an experiment for this podcast. So we can see, so I can not only just try to give advice to other people, but actually use that myself and show that, hey, some of this actually does work.
Right.
So,
and I think it'll be really cool because, we're not exactly big YouTubers or anything, but
No.
Zach is at 300 something right now on his previous channel rather, and I'm at 253. And while we both have had like many channels before, and we had started up a bunch of channels, we haven't really known what it's been like to just start from basics in 2017 at all, or even like the past year or whatever.
Right.
Like I started last year on this channel. In 2016, I started on July 20th, and I sort of got that process, but I imagine a lot has changed even from 2016 to 2017. So I think Zach having this new channel is going to offer a very unique perspective in terms of this podcast, and hopefully for some of you listeners out there as well. So
absolutely,
should be cool.
It's interesting. I mean, my last channel, the current one that I have now, I mean, I started it back in 2011, which is extremely different than the 2017 YouTube climate.
Right.
Extremely different. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how all this stuff plays out. Hopefully it works really well. Hopefully you guys get something out of it as well. And I think it's very important to say that with this podcast, we're not one of those guys that are saying that we know everything. We are still very hungry for knowledge. And that's one of the reasons we're doing this, is to gain knowledge about it ourselves as well.
Sure. I'm sure we're going to come into one of these podcasts where me and Zach have sort of learned a new thing because we're constantly researching and finding out new strategies and such. I can imagine on one of these podcasts coming in with like some new information that not only we're going to give to y'all because, you know, this is a YouTube podcast, but we're going to be learning it as well. Like, right? Like,
exactly.
We're still excited about this stuff. We're still excited about the process. We're still excited about growing, even now, even years later, right?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So with that being said, so those are basically our backgrounds. We both have a really big background in the gaming side of YouTube. So we will be talking frequently about gaming, but we're not going to be exclusively talking about gaming on YouTube.
Right.
I mean, even if you are a gaming YouTuber, there are tons of important things that you can learn from vlogging channels and educational channels and all these different types of genres that are on the platform.
Right. It's just interesting, like whether you're doing gaming or vlogging or whatever, to kind of like learn from other fields and to occasionally diversify and sort of spread out. Because just doing one thing is fine and all, and it works on YouTube, but you kind of like need to know what's going on everywhere else so you can get better at what you do specifically.
Exactly.
So while we're like kind of focused in the gaming sphere for the most part, there's still a lot of stuff that we want to talk about in terms of the general YouTube and what's been going on in terms of like how the sites run and content creation strategies and all that sort of fun stuff.
Right. And I should also,
hopefully that sounds fun to you.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this.
Right.
I also should also point out that gaming is not the only thing that I do. While it is a very big part of my content creation, I do venture into different other nerd-related fields. So if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, you can kind of see that there's this other like side of me that likes to delve into like a lot of different interesting things.
Yeah, and I do vlogs and other such random like Q&A series and stuff like that. Yeah. So even I'm like not 100% on the gaming bandwagon all the time.
Right.
But it is something that both of us do a good bit. So
right.
It'll just show up. So if you like hate that stuff, don't worry. It won't be the focus or whatever, but we're going to bring it up one way or another.
So our first kind of like big topic for today is, why are we making this podcast? You know, we've got the title of the podcast is Should You Start a YouTube Channel in 2017? But before that, why this podcast? Why is it being brought into existence?
Sure. I think there's a lot of ways you could answer this question. One of which, and probably the simplest, is that it's a very fun thing to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Secondly, I feel like before this podcast even became a thing, there have been multiple occasions where me and Zach have sort of sat in a Discord call and talked for hours on hours on hours on end about YouTube.
Yeah.
And it eventually got to the point where we were like, hey, look, we have some interesting advice, and if it isn't right, at least it'll be interesting to listen to, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because these conversations are super engaging for the most part. And so when Zach was like, all right, cool, let's do it then, finally. I'm like, all right, let's go. And it sort of became our mission, at least in this podcast, is to sort of not only inform people, but to have a good time as well. Sort of share our experiences and stuff, and hopefully help somebody out there.
Right. And I thought it was very interesting when I was thinking of coming up with this podcast, and I shared the idea with Aden, the fact that there's not really a lot of YouTube podcasts out there. And the ones that are, they're from those big name, big YouTube advice YouTubers that you all know of that say the exact same thing in 1,000 different videos. And
we're not going to call anybody out.
We're not going to call anybody out. But while like some of their advice is true, some of their suggestions are factual information. The thing is they also tend to look down on younger YouTubers, and they kind of go around the questions, and they're not in the same position as us anymore. We're learning and we're trying to grow a channel based off of non-YouTube advice. We're growing our channel based off of our passions,
right?
Not just advice.
Yeah, the thing with those channels a lot of is they built their legacy on advice. And I think the fact of the matter is why that's cool and why that's definitely a way to go about it. You definitely are missing parts of the picture if you're strictly just doing advice, right?
Right.
And I feel like the problem with a lot of them is that they tend to repeat themselves and state the obvious stuff, which, to be fair, we're going to probably tell you some obvious stuff in here too, but
of course,
there's going to be a little bit of variation here. There's going to be a little bit of experience between the both of us. There's going to be things that we're not sure are even proven yet, or stuff that isn't brought up enough, or isn't talked about enough, like really underrated stuff.
Right.
So we wanted to have a place where like all that information could be there, both the super obvious, but also the not obvious, the fun parts of YouTube, the not fun parts of YouTube, like all of that into one digestible podcast, just for people to listen to. That doesn't have all the bullshit advice in there.
Right. Like there's going to be times where, and I'll go ahead and point it out now, this entire podcast is way more of a discussion-based thing than a lecture hall. We want you to give us comments. We want you to put iTunes reviews. We want you to be involved in the creation of this podcast so that we're constantly learning as well as you.
Sure. Like if you listen to one of these podcasts and you're like, oh, hey, that isn't right, or hey, I'm a YouTuber and I have an experience that I want to share that kind of relates to this story, go ahead and throw that in.
Definitely.
Honestly, type that in the comments. We'll not only read it, but we'll probably mention it on air and sort of give our take on it as well. So if we can have this discussion going back not only between me and Zach, but to the commenters as well, this podcast is just going to do super well.
Definitely. Definitely. And I guess the last reason I really want to do this podcast is because there's no big YouTubers, and we're talking about like people in the millions subscriber points, even some of the ones in the 100,000, 500,000 subscriber points that are doing anything like this. They're not pushing towards that, helping smaller YouTubers. And when they do make a YouTube advice video, it's pretty much the generic stuff. It's never the nitty gritty. Here's what it takes. Here's the hard work that I had to do for these years. I think it would just be a really cool place that if me or Aden ends up in a position where we are bigger, which hopefully we are, that's our plan, that we're able to use this platform as a way of an experiment and showing how we got from step A to step B, rather than just being like, yeah, we did some shit and it happened and now we're here,
Right. We want to leave as much of it open as possible, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
I think we covered most of it.
I think we covered most of it. So, our big topic today is, should you start a YouTube channel in 2017?
Do we want like a short answer, long answer kind of deal?
Well, a short answer. What's your short answer? Like in a sentence, give it.
Yes, do it.
Just do it.
That's it.
Just do it. Yeah. I'd say, just do it. I think that's a really good short answer. If you're even considering the thought, do it. Be like Shia LaBeouf. Be like Emperor Palpatine.
Right.
Just do it.
I'm sure some of you listening to this are like, well, if it's such an easy, short answer, then what's the next hour of this podcast going to be? Well, yes, you should do it. But there's a lot of stuff you kind of need to know before you do it, right?
There's a lot of... Go ahead.
It's not so much a question of if I should do it, but how. That's what we're going to get into.
Not even when. Like, you should do it now.
Right.
Like this minute. Listen to us first and then go do it. And then it's a lot of, like you said, how. There's a lot of preliminary things that you need to consider. You need to look at the pros. You need to look at the cons, which we're going to talk about. You need to look at the way the climate is on YouTube, which we're going to talk about in a second. It's really important to make sure you know exactly what you're getting into before you just jump in and be like, I want to make videos, because that's what I did.
Right.
I jumped in.
That's kind of what I did as well.
Which is a good way to do things. For the people
at home, take a shot every time we say the word climate on this podcast.
Ooh, you might not want to do that.
It's going to be brought up a lot.
Yeah, and we're not talking about the weather.
Right.
That's the entire other podcast, The Weather and You, which is also going on the network.
Dude, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Who's co-hosting that one?
I might just co-host myself in a different voice.
It'd be Zach and anti-Zach.
Exactly. Hey, the big YouTubers are doing it. They have their anti-versions.
Yeah, there you go. It's a workable angle.
I gotta join in on that YouTube money.
Fair point.
All right, so the current climate on YouTube.
2017.
Ooh, boy, has it changed.
This info to be out of date in a year.
So I guess every year, like depending on how long this podcast is, we'll just have to like bring up a new version of it. I think
Wouldn't it be like so lucky if like YouTube never changed and this information was just always the right info?
You know how great that would have been? You know, the 20 million times it's changed in the last 6 years I've been on YouTube.
I want to look at like the Google Doc of like all the times YouTube has changed, like either their layout or the algorithm, and just see how long it is. Since 2006 to now.
I would probably cry.
You would never.
Can you imagine?
It'd be long.
Absolutely.
It'd be like a encyclopedia.
And there's been recent news about new changes to the Creator Studio on YouTube as well. That's not even out yet. So I mean, we'll have to talk about that when that comes out.
It's on the horizon.
It's on the horizon.
All right, but this current climate here, YouTube 2017, there's a lot of things. Well, we might as well get like the big elephant in the room out of the way, because it literally is the big elephant.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of what's called the adpocalypse, which layman's terms stands for there's not as many ads as there were before, partially because companies got spooked like an elephant. A little mice came in there and they're like, oh.
That metaphor.
Yeah, see? You thought this podcast wasn't going to get smart. We're getting deep on it here. But no, advertisers got spooked by a lot of sort of the out there YouTube channels, the weird stuff out there, and they're like, oh, I don't want my ads playing near this. And then once one figured that out, they kind of spilled the beans to the other ones, and then they kind of like left in droves. And Google is like, oh, hey, we kind of need YouTube to make money. Can you come back?
Right.
So the result of all this is that there's less ads, and because of that, your YouTubers are now making less money because the ad rates are smaller than they've ever been.
So just an important point, because we are assuming that anybody listening to this podcast may very well not know anything about the way YouTube works. The way that YouTubers make money is by companies putting their ads on their videos, by a certain number of people clicking on these ads on that YouTube creator's videos, they receive a certain amount of monetary value. Now that this adpocalypse is happening, we're having less ads on less videos, as Aden has said, which means less clicks on ads because they're not there, and in turn, less money, which is a very big, real problem in the YouTube climate currently.
Sure. And it's changing how people go about YouTube and how they make money. They're trying different strategies and stuff now. I think the thing with this point that the adpocalypse kind of like shows people, if you want a lesson to gain from it, you never know what YouTube has around the corner. So the smart thing would be to not put all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
And people who put all of their eggs in the ad rates basket are now either suffering and trying to figure out a way around it, or just gone.
Mm-hmm. So you'll hear from a lot of successful YouTubers, a lot of successful entrepreneurs and businessmen that you should diversify your income. You hear this a lot from YouTube advice people. And what that just means is, like Aden said, not putting all of your eggs in the same basket, not relying on YouTube ad money.
Mm-hmm.
If/when you get to a point where you're making money from it, and making sure that there are other avenues on the internet, whether you have a job on the side, it all just depends on how far you want to get into the entire YouTube atmosphere. And we'll probably have an episode on diversifying your income. We'll probably have an episode about doing YouTube as a hobby versus doing YouTube as a business. I mean, I'm sure those are going to be main topics that we talk about at some point.
Right, for sure. But as far as the current climate goes, current climate? I don't know.
Kermit climate?
Kermit climate. As far as the climate goes now, the thing you want to know about the apocalypse is, if you're just starting out and you're starting to make a YouTube channel, keep that in mind, that even if you start off being super successful right off the bat, you might not be seeing as much as other people used to, simply because of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, go into what else we got?
Well, one last thing, what you just said made me think of this, major point is don't look to big YouTubers and expect to be that.
Sure.
Right? Like, it's just not gonna, it may happen, but it's very likely that it won't as well. So I think that's a very important thing.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Yeah. All right. So the next point that I want to bring up is expectations.
Ooh.
On YouTube.
That's a fun one.
There are actual expectations for YouTube creators. 10 years ago, YouTube was a platform where anybody and everybody just posted a video about their cat, their baby. It didn't matter. And they may have gotten views. They may not have. Now, people go to YouTube like they do TV. They look for structured content that they can watch multiple times a week or at least a month. And they expect it to be good, whether you're new or old.
Right. Yeah. Like back in 2006, 7, 8, and even 09.
Yeah.
We were kind of in the age of sort of the viral video. The way you got success on YouTube was by posting one video that sort of hit off super well, and then you built your empire on top of that. So you may have done like a little sports trick, or you maybe got like a really cute cat video, or you maybe did something crazy in a game. And then when that video does super well, people realize that and then build their empires off of it. Things started to change a little bit around 2010 when it became more about, okay, viral videos are a thing, but the thing is, it's hard to replicate that. Once you have one viral video, chances are you're not going to get another smash hit that's exactly like it. So then it went from making one really good blowout video to now being like, all right, we need to kind of have like series and consistent content and making sure every video is good and same quality and having all of them be of a similar quality. That way you can sort of replicate results and you're not having to rely on the success of one video. You can kind of just come and go.
Right.
Which I'm sure there's more to that than the explanation I just gave, but that's sort of the base version of it.
Right. It changed again a lot in 2012 when gaming on YouTube became really big, and that ended up being the thing that most people were trying to get into, to being popular on YouTube. And then it's changed again recently.
Right.
It varies, but what we're seeing now is that there's some kind of professionalism in the way that you're providing content, not necessarily being professional in your videos. If you're a comedy gaming channel, you're making jokes, you may be being edgy, like that's fine. But like in the process of editing your videos, making sure that the recording production is good and uploading them on a consistent schedule.
Yeah, like
never before.
Sound.
Right. Never before has that been super important.
Right. I mean, back in the day, if you had a video with like really bad video quality and audio, if that was the only video out there, you kind of had to suck it up and watch it. And a lot of really bad videos ended up doing super well because of that, because they were the only thing out. Now that YouTube has grown and become more popular and more people are using the internet and YouTube every day, if you release a crappy video with bad audio and video, there's like 30 better other options out there now.
Exactly.
So you almost kind of have to sort of match what other people are doing in terms of the technical stuff. I mean, obviously you can add your own spin to it or whatever, but in terms of like the technical details, the foundation, it's gone up over the years. You know, what was acceptable 3 years ago isn't so much now anymore.
Now, this means two things in particular. One being the barrier of entry has gotten a little bit more difficult.
That's true.
But that doesn't mean you should go out and buy a bunch of high-tech equipment to produce stuff.
Right. Agreed. And that's the thing that we should probably mention as well, is like professionalism and expectations definitely are two things about it. But I think the deal is that you can start off being small so long as you're working your way up to that professionalism that everybody else is at.
Right.
So
we've all been
sort
there.
of, yeah. I mean, not everyone starts out being great. Just know that those videos aren't going to do well until you get to that standard.
Exactly. And that's the important part. YouTube is all about a journey.
Right.
It is all about making those really crappy first videos that you don't understand or know what you're doing. You don't have the best equipment. And your friend maybe will watch your videos and that's it. And that's okay. As long as if you're really into this, just keep learning about it. And that's what we're here for.
Right. We're going to try to help people along the way and make sure people don't quit that journey halfway through.
Right.
Because that's sort of a big deal. The other thing about expectations, too, that might be worth noting is that, like, genre in particular, like, before people were kind of inventing genres and, like, how a style of video is there. Now it's kind of like the style is already in place. What little minor variations and tweaks can you yourself add to it?
Right.
Like there's a formula now, in a way.
And
it's sort of your job as like an up-and-coming content creator to either follow it or make variations to it, be different.
Exactly.
But knowing about like what those expectations are is helpful.
Yeah, trying to find that next unique thing is going to be very hard. And if that's the thing stopping you, and we'll probably talk about this again later. If the thing stopping you is making unique content, don't let that stop you. Find something that you already enjoy and just do that.
Sure, I agree. And you hope to one day, if you keep doing it, make it unique. And that's fine. But starting out, like, don't expect to be 100% brand new original. And if you see somebody like that started off being brand new original, chances are they had 18 other channels before then.
Oh, yeah.
Where they did what everybody else was doing.
Right.
You know? And that's fine. Again, you're growing.
Exactly. That's important to remember.
Right. I guess another thing we can bring up, too, as far as, like, sort of professionalism and stuff, kind of a way to go into it. YouTube drama is also kind of a thing now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really crazy. Last like year and a half, it's just blown up.
Right. We're seeing a lot that the way that a lot of people are getting up is just by talking about other people, right? Other popular people. And YouTube kind of rewards that, in that if you have SEO of like other big channels, then those videos are going to be boosted up more. Right. And if they respond and the comments are, because typically in drama videos, you're getting a lot of engagement in terms of comments and stuff.
Yeah, especially if it's controversial.
Right. You get a lot of debate back and forth, stuff like that. But it does well now. And YouTube is even kind of promoting it in a way. So now more than ever, it's kind of a lot harder to resist that urge, that temptation to be like, let me go into it to like get on other people. And then, like, once I'm done bashing on other people and I have a big enough empire, then I'll start making the good stuff, right? I feel like that's a trap that a lot of people can sort of fall into.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's very popular and very good for a channel in the short term. But when you're playing the long game of YouTube and content creation and things on the internet, it's not going to get you to where you want to be.
Agreed.
Unless you just want the short-term fame and money, then that's a thing, right? Like that, some people are like that, but is that morally right? I would argue it isn't. But again, we're just some friendly YouTubers. We're not your papa.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with sort of these current climate points is we're mentioning stuff that's going on currently.
Mm.
Not all of it you have to get involved in.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
These are trends. These are things that are happening in the short term. These are things that might be gone in a month or even when we post this,
Yeah.
YouTube's very crazy in how it changes things.
Yeah. It's crazy. Speaking of trends that may be gone, but the opposite, trends that have never left, clickbait is still a very, very an apparent thing on YouTube.
Right. Clickbait. I don't think clickbait ever left.
Unfortunately, yeah. It's just changed.
Sure.
It's not so much more boobs and thumbnail. It's BuzzFeed articles.
Right. I think the deal now in 2017 is that people have finally come around to it. So as before, if you had all cap title and maybe kind of lied about it a little bit back in maybe 2008, 2010, whatever, maybe might not have had people complain about it or even notice it. Nowadays, if you get away with a clickbaity title and an awful looking thumbnail, chances are you're not going to get away scot-free. Someone's going to call you out on it one way or another.
Right. And
Yeah, go ahead.
And if you're a bigger YouTuber and you're doing that and you haven't before, people don't care as much, which is also interesting.
Right.
So it's
sort of interesting to dissect that behavior.
Yeah. So I guess those are a few of the trends. Do you want to get a little bit more technical, Aden?
Ooh, I like the technicalities. I'm all about the details.
Do you want to talk about the dreaded YouTube algorithm?
The nightmare in my dreams.
Yeah.
The thing that keeps us up at night.
There's very few things besides my ex and my dead dog from 5 years ago that keep me awake at night. And one of those is the YouTube algorithm.
That dreaded gosh dang algorithm. Back again.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Yep. Something we live with. I guess for those unaware, the YouTube algorithm is essentially how YouTube prioritizes videos and how it's structured, really. And the thing about it is, whatever, it's an algorithm, right? Once people crack it, it's there. Once you crack it, though, YouTube changes it.
Ooh, I never gave my fun fact.
Ooh, yeah, what's your fun fact?
I can solve a Rubik's Cube in less than a minute and 30 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. I was thinking of algorithms. And my brain went straight to that. Yeah.
Ooh, Rubik's Cube.
Oh, I love them.
But that's a fun algorithm.
That is a fun algorithm. That one helps me. It helps me calm down from thinking about the YouTube algorithm.
Right.
Yeah. So as Aden said, the algorithm is just a technical device. It's not a device. It's just a thing on YouTube that exists that helps prioritize which videos are going to be watched more. And it's changed hundreds of times in the last 11 years, and it's going to change even more. So the stuff that we mentioned today may very well not be available in the next year.
Right. From what we can gather now, there are kind of two little things that are super apparent. One of which being watch time and the other one being engagement. You kind of have to have both. Seems to be a thing. YouTube is now valuing how long people watch the video. That's what watch time is how long they're staying and how many minutes you can get out of them. So because of that, because that's how the algorithm works, YouTubers now respond by, one, having longer videos, and 2, trying to make the whole video from beginning to end engaging. So, you know, like you may think, oh, it's an algorithm. Like, how does that change anything? Well, if you want to be seen, you kind of have to follow it. You know, you have to like physically change in order to be relevant half the time. And if your channel or videos are structured the wrong way, you might have to throw that structure away just to simply follow that algorithm.
Right. Interestingly enough, YouTube has even gone against one of their older ways of recommending videos, which was videos less than 5 minutes. I remember about 3-4 years ago, it was very common for advice articles and such to say your video should be less than 5 minutes for it to be successful. This is how animation channels were doing really well for a little while. And now it's actually prioritizing videos that are above 10 minutes. There's actually a limit now that they want you to go to prioritize that watch time, keep them on YouTube more, click on more ads, make YouTube more money.
Yeah, definitely. Animation channels have now kind of fallen off because of that.
It sucks.
I think part of that, yeah, that really does suck. Part of it, too, was that while animations like were 5 minutes and you would get a lot of views on it, again, the watch time would be small because of the length. But the thing is, like, you're going to keep wanting watch time after that video, and animators can't pop out an animation every day.
Right.
So because of that, they kind of fell behind of only having like 5 good minutes a month, right? Compare that to like a Let's Player who's putting out 10-minute videos every day.
Even twice a day.
Twice a day, maybe. And you can see like how much of a chance they have to get more watch time now. Even if they're not as good.
Right. I'm just throwing this out there just because it's coming to my mind. As far as a YouTube animation animator is concerned, I think one way that they could be more successful is by being commissioned by different other types of YouTube creators and creating like these default type things that they can just kind of sell to other creators and collab and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just came to my thought, like to my head, and I was like, that'd be a good little tip right there. I don't know.
I think another thing you could probably do is you would have to turn more videos out. So one way of doing that is like show how you animate or show yourself drawing.
Oh, absolutely.
Doing drawing videos, right? Like
drawing live streams, yeah.
If the animation isn't the only thing anymore, well, now you have to kind of like take what you love and do different things with it.
Right.
So yeah, live streaming, you know, putting it on YouTube, drawing tutorials, stuff like that.
And we can do an entire episode on that one day.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not about views as much. You're definitely going to want minutes, and you want to make sure they're there for as long as possible because you want all those minutes. If your video is 10 minutes long, you want them to watch the whole 10. It's the idea behind that one.
So kind of bringing that together with one of the other things we mentioned being clickbait. What clickbait really helped back in the day was that it brought more people to their video. They clicked on the video, they were there for 10 seconds, realized they didn't want the video, left. That gave that video still a view. The more views they got, the more that video got recommended. And so one of the ways that YouTube fixed that was by encouraging watch time instead of views. And now that's why that is there.
Why that's a thing now. Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, obviously there was adverse side effects to it, as we've mentioned before. Things that were popular then aren't anymore, and things that weren't popular, like podcasts, are now suddenly a thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because you can get so many minutes.
So many. So
going along, definitely interesting.
Yeah. So going along with the YouTube algorithm, one thing that's we've kind of briefly touched on it is the fact that it changes all the time. We don't always know what to look for, and sometimes we don't even know when it changes.
Right. It's a big mystery all the time. It's like being given a Rubik's Cube, and then before you solve it, someone takes it away from you and gives you another one.
Oh, man. That would frustrate me so much.
Wouldn't it? You just had somebody over your soldiers being like,
man.
oh, hey.
Oh,
looks like you're about to finish that. Let me just snatch that away.
It'd be even more so like giving you a typical Rubik's Cube, almost solving it, taking that away from you, giving you like a 4x4 Rubik's Cube. Taking that away from you, giving a 5x5, like, oh man, that'd be Rubik's Cube hell.
It'd be irritating.
But
that kind of gives you an idea of how YouTubers feel a whole lot of the time when they change the algorithm.
Yeah. The algorithm and the layout.
Right. Almost every other day, what seems like.
Apparently it's changed recently. I'm not sure how, but somebody mentioned something about it changing.
Oh, the layout?
Yeah. I don't know what yet.
I think I don't have it on my computer, but I've seen it on some of the other ones.
Okay.
How they've kind of changed it a little bit more.
Okay.
Not by much, but it's noticeable.
Okay.
I'd have to look into it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the algorithm's just a big old dirty mess, but it's a mess that we kind of all have to follow. So we kind of have to stick with it. It's a little bit of a downer, but hey, don't let that get in the way of your dreams.
Right. And
follow your dreams.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
Put the memes on YouTube.
Right. Exactly. Turn it into content. Turn your dreams into content.
Exactly. So do you have anything else for the current climate on YouTube?
I mean, we got a lot of it covered here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought so as well.
We could mention like the gaming stuff a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
There's a little bit we could go into that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, we kind of covered all the general stuff.
Let's go ahead and mention a couple of the gaming things since we do have a gaming background. I think that could be valuable to somebody.
Okay, sure. So gaming for the past couple of years got big off of the Let's Play format.
Starting in 2012.
2012, roughly.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, a Let's Play is essentially a guy playing a game. And you're watching the gameplay, you're watching all that, and typically you have somebody commentating over it, or you have a webcam over it, or some stuff like that. They were pretty easy to make. They were short. You got to see the gameplay. You got to see the guy's experience. Whatever. They've been around years beforehand, but they kind of kicked off in 2012. Ever since then, they've kind of been the mainstay. The problem with it now is that they're a little too big.
Yeah. Because the barrier of entry is so small, because literally anybody and their cousin can do it. It's made...
Everybody and their cousin did it.
Exactly. Because everybody and their cousin has done it. And because when you want to be successful as a Let's Player, you put multiple episodes out every single day, there's a ton of Let's Plays out there.
Right. A lot. You think of a game that's out there, even like day one, and chances are there are already 10 different series covering it.
Yeah. And typically more.
Day. right, more even.
Now, with that being said... Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, depending on what game you liked, if you were wanting to get into Minecraft, you're in a little bit of bad news, because there's probably literally more Let's Plays in Minecraft than anything.
Guess the number of results when you type in Let's Play Minecraft.
16 billion.
Not quite that high. 55.5 million.
Dang.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, that's insane. And
it's definitely not the average for those wondering.
Right. It's not the complete average. It's crazy. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean you can't be successful as a Let's Player. There are different ways to differentiate yourself. I can't speak today, apparently, Aden. Good day to do a podcast.
Exactly.
There are different ways to differentiate yourself from other Let's Players, other Let's Plays, and I still think that there is a shot at being able to make it with Let's Plays alone.
Right.
Though slim.
You sort of have to go into a different mindset now. As before, where if you were just doing Let's Plays, chances are it would have been seen. Now you have to like take a new approach to it and be like, okay, everybody does Let's Plays. How do I make what I'm doing unique and watchable? Right.
Maybe it's playing games that people don't play as much. Indie games, flash games, phone games.
You can market your personality more. There's a lot of different ways of going about it.
Yeah.
But even then, I wouldn't make Let's Plays your focus.
No.
Just because, again, they're so oversaturated.
I wouldn't either. I think the better way to do it, if you really want to do Let's Plays, is get known for something else and then do a Let's Play channel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think that would work.
If you have to have a channel that's just strictly Let's Plays, fine. But keep in mind, there's a good chance that it might not get anywhere for a while, or if it does, it's going to be very slow.
Mind you, I say this as a Let's Player for the last 6 years.
Sure.
So,
I mean, I Let's Play stuff too.
Right.
I just don't make it my focus.
Exactly. Keep in mind, like, this is experience talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it comes as a viewer of Let's Plays, but keep in mind a good bit of it, like, we're content creators as well, so we kind of, like, know what goes into making one, and we can after you make a Let's Play, you can kind of see why they're overdone. Gives you a lot of insight.
Pretty easy to make,
right?
But not necessarily easy to do well.
Right. To do well, it's a totally different ballgame.
Right. So I guess
it depends on how you do it.
Exactly. So I guess other than Let's Plays, one of the other bigger sides of YouTube gaming is live streams. And you're very knowledgeable about this.
Oh, right. Live streaming has become sort of a big thing, not just in the gaming sphere, but sort of everywhere. Right. Facebook is trying it. YouTube is trying it. Twitch had already been doing it. And Twitch was sort of the thing that got it big, as far as I'm concerned. Where rather than just simply Let's Playing a game, you were kind of doing a Let's Play, but you were doing it live. And you had to counteract with the chat a lot of the times because streams are based a lot on interaction. What made live streaming big, one, I think, is Twitch's success. But number two, again, with watch time being a thing, there's almost no better way to get that watch time than by literally doing something live and having people interact with you. That keeps people there longer than anything ever, as far as I'm concerned. And with more platforms like Facebook and Mixer and all these other places popping up around the corner, clearly companies are trying to capitalize on that.
Right.
And make that sort of a big thing. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Right. Live streaming it's really good in watch time. It's really good in engagement. So if you're using live streaming on your channel, let me take that back. It's almost imperative that you use live streaming on your channel in 2017 because of all the different benefits. Not just necessarily in gaming. Like if you're gaming, you should absolutely be streaming. But in certain other genres, you can use that as a benefit as well.
Right. Use it as a tool.
Absolutely.
I think the only reason that people shouldn't be live streaming is if you physically can.
Right. I mean, live streaming.
And then again, it's becoming easier every day.
Right. If you have 100 subscribers, you can now live stream on your phone if you have a phone. Which
Facebook Live lets you do it from your phone.
Chances are, if you're listening to this, you probably have a phone.
Hopefully.
Probably. I mean, yeah. Hopefully.
Get a phone.
Just get a phone. Get a
part-time
job. Get a phone.
Right.
If you're not old enough to have a part-time job, start mowing lawns. Start selling lemonade. Make some money.
Right.
There's your first step of being successful on YouTube.
Exactly.
Being successful outside of YouTube. Exactly.
Right.
The bigger part of live streaming is that there is a bigger barrier of entry.
That's true.
I mean, you got to make sure you have good enough internet. Your computer's got to be decent unless you're using your phone. You've got to make sure you have the right software that'll work with the right games if you're doing games. If you're doing just a webcam, do you have a webcam? You know, there is a lot more putting into it than, let's say, a Let's Play or a vlog or something like that. But after you learn how to do it, actually doing it every single time is just as easy as pressing a button to start.
Right. And I think the benefits are worth all the work you have to put into it.
Right. Right. And I think
tenfold.
If you're doing YouTube, you should just know how to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the amount of lessons you would learn just by setting up a live stream in general could help you in other aspects, you know? Learning OBS to stream might open you up to using OBS as a recording platform, you know? Like, learning how to get little images for scenes might lean more into learning how to edit and putting images up there, right? You kind of like get bits and pieces.
Right.
But streaming is very technical. all I'll say is this: if you have the ability to do it, and the only thing holding you back is that you don't know how, there are a billion tutorials out there, and you absolutely should be doing it.
Absolutely.
No matter what field you're in.
Right.
But they're a big thing now, and that's sort of why we brought it up in the current climate. Is just because, like, now more than ever, and this one's about as recent as all of these. Live streaming has become huge.
It's crazy.
If there's one thing you take away from this, that would be my point to take away.
Right. I mean, in a world where if you have Instagram, you can live stream. If you have Facebook, you can live stream. Anybody can do this. If you have Snapchat, you're essentially putting things out live. It's just doing the same thing on this platform on YouTube or Twitch and doing it better in a more focused atmosphere.
And see, the thing about it too, live streaming could eventually get to the point where it becomes the next Let's Play, and that so many people are doing it and it gets oversaturated. The good news is because we're not at that point yet, now is a better time to jump on than ever.
So true. Yeah.
You jump on now and you'll be set years down the line when like everyone's doing live streaming and you know people are having so much trouble trying to get off the ground, when you could be like, oh yeah, I started in 2017, there weren't that many people on, it was good. And that's not to say live streaming isn't big, it is, just not as big comparatively to the Let's Play universe.
Well, I mean, to give you a couple of numbers just off the top of my head, when you look at gaming channels that do Let's Plays, a lot of the bigger channels do have over 1 million subscribers or over 100,000 subscribers. But if you go on Twitch, which, you know, is just a live streaming platform, there are maybe 3 people that are in the 1 million follower range. And then it's very hard to get over 50,000 followers.
Exactly.
Let alone 100,000 on up. So it's still very small, but it is rapidly growing. So I like that you brought up the fact that, yeah, you should probably be doing it if you're not already.
Right. I just think I needed to mention that incentive out there for some people to actually do it.
Yeah.
Because I know there'd be a couple listening and be like, oh yeah, those are some good benefits, but I can start next week, or I can start next month, or next year, or next 5 years from now, and then you just never do it.
Yeah. Which is the same thing for a lot of things for a lot of people.
Right.
Which is sad.
If you can.
Yeah. So is
that all our current climate talk?
I think it is, yeah. One just like last final like wrap up to that is that was a lot of information. It was a lot of information. So don't feel intimidated because a lot of this we've learned over years of doing this. And
sure.
You're going to be learning things constantly all the time. You don't have to learn everything at once.
Right. And hopefully if you already knew this stuff, you found our conversations about each point interesting enough.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this great option called rewinding. You can rewind the podcast and listen to it again.
Give us more watch time.
Which gives us more watch time on YouTube. Ooh,
nice
boy.
segue into bringing it back around.
Yes.
Real clean like.
That's what I'm all about. That's what I'm all about.
How does he do it?
So, what's the next thing we're going to talk about today?
So that's the current climate, right? That's all the stuff that's happening now, right? That's all the little background info. Now, now that you know all that, comes the decision: do I start? Do I not start? And there's a little bit of info supporting one camp and a bit supporting another camp. There's reasons to start, reasons not to start. Which one would be the best to tackle first? Do we want to go negative first? Get the bad news out of the way.
We could alternate them.
Ooh.
That would be interesting. Cool. Yeah.
One of us can be negative and the other one can be positive, boy.
Yeah.
Kind of the negative YouTuber stereotype. YouTube is not the future. We're dying, everyone. YouTube is dead. All right, I'll be negative Nancy.
Okay.
And you'll be positive Polly, I guess.
Cool. So I'll ask you the question: should you start a YouTube channel in 2017?
No.
And why is that?
YouTube is dead.
YouTube is dead.
YouTube will be dead in 5 years.
Ooh.
So hop on twitch.tv.
Ooh.
Make an account there. No, I'm just joking.
As memey as that is,
right.
that is a common reason for somebody to not start, is they think that YouTube will be dead.
Right, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Is because that's a mindset of a lot of people. I don't think that'll be the situation. And I think even if it is, there's so much that you could still learn on YouTube before it got shut down that would apply to many other platforms.
Right.
So if YouTube closed down and you had to move to Dailymotion or Twitch, you would still gain a lot of info from YouTube.
Right.
On a large scale. Because the thing is, if YouTube shuts down, it's going to take a while for the other platforms to reach the heights that YouTube did. So if you had experience where everything was ultra competitive, then when it shuts down, it's on a smaller scale, you'll have had that knowledge.
Right. So if this is your mindset, it's important to remember that YouTube isn't the destination. It's not about becoming great on YouTube. It's about using it as a vehicle to learn how to make really good videos.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. It's a platform, right? Mm-hmm. It's not the end-all, be-all. It's where people post their videos now. But if that isn't the case, then, hey, hopefully you're good enough at this to whether you can adapt and move on to another platform.
Exactly.
But I don't think it's going anywhere regardless. I
don't either.
Google eventually is going to get their shit together.
Yeah, even in the state of the current adpocalypse, I think it's going to be around for a while. It'll change, sure, but it'll still be around.
Yeah, so you'll still have to adapt even if YouTube doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But just in more smaller scale stuff.
Yeah.
Or big, depending on what YouTube decides to screw up next.
True.
There, I'm back to negative Nancy again.
Ooh.
YouTube is dead.
I don't like YouTube.
It's basically worse Facebook.
Oh, man.
Facebook video is the future.
Twitter did it better. Vine is actually dead.
Vine.
Why you should do Vine in 2017.
Exactly. We're changing our podcast to a Vine podcast.
Yes.
We're going to talk about Viners.
Yeah. So, I guess I should do a positive then.
Yeah, positive it up.
So, yes, you should start a YouTube channel because it's a way to express yourself.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a way for you to get out there and learn more about yourself, learn more about the things you're passionate about, learn how to make videos, and it's like when teenagers who used to play guitar and sing in their room and write lyrics to songs they never published. It's like artists that, draw things in class, but nobody ever sees it. This is a way for you to express yourself like you do on Facebook or Twitter or any other social media platforms in a public viewing where people can see it. And it's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
You get... platform allows you for so many people to have access to your stuff, right?
Right.
YouTube doesn't charge you $10 to post a video, right? Like you can post whatever you want. Whether people actually watch it, that's a different deal. But still, you can express yourself for free. You can put out whatever video you want for free.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm going to let those positive vibes out the door and go back to being negative.
Oh, man.
Gosh. Reason not to start Trash Tube right here.
Give it to me.
All right. It's too easy. It's too easy, man. It's easy for me to do. Why bother? I can just post. I can post magical hit videos. It'll just be easy. I'm gonna get 100 views on my first video, no problem.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll just coast. PewDiePie could do it. Why can't I?
It's super easy. Mm-hmm. So obviously
a baby can do it.
The reality of this is while the barrier of entry to YouTube is fairly easy, fairly simple, actually making good videos is, contrary to popular belief, not actually
a hard
easy.
thing to do.
Yes.
It's a very, very hard thing to do. And even if you can do it, very few can do it consistently. On top of advertising those videos, on top of answering comments, you know, there's a lot of people out there who could probably make good videos. How many of them can like consistently do it?
Right.
And be on top of it daily on most occasions.
Yeah, it's not just about making the videos either. It's about interacting with people and different things. Yeah.
The people who sit here and think YouTube is easy to do are the people who haven't done it.
Yeah.
And I find that if you have that mindset, either one of two things happen. If you think it's easy to do, if you're under that mindset, one of two things happen. Number one, you realize it's not easy to do, and you change your mindset. Or B, you think it's easy to do, you put out a couple of videos, they don't do well, and then you quit. Right.
Or
so, like,
there's a third option.
Do you want to adapt? Oh,
there's a third option. You think it's easy to do, you put up videos, and they're actually garbage, but you don't know that. Sure. Yeah.
Sure, you're under that blind success. You think you're doing well when you're not.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility, I guess. If you're jaded enough, maybe.
Yeah. You'd be surprised.
Sure, I guess. But yeah, bottom line, it's not easy to do. The people who you think, the YouTubers that you go out there and be like, man, that sure is easy. It's not. It's not. Like, even dumb React channels still have to spend an ungodly amount of time to get 5 videos out a day, right?
Yeah.
Just to record them.
So everything takes time.
Everything takes time.
And some things take money.
Involved. Right.
Yeah.
They're sacrificed at every corner. So thinking that it's easy to do and that you're not going to sacrifice anything and that you're just going to post a video whenever you feel like it and you're just going to get big like other people do, you don't know the half of the story. You don't know all the work that was put into it for people to get big. You don't realize as a viewer when someone's uploading things daily. For you, it's just like, oh, cool, they uploaded. For them, it's like, I have 13 hours left to upload a video. I still have to record, write, edit, add special effects, upload the video, respond to the first couple of comments, put it up on social media, share it on right, it never ends. And then by the time you're done, the process repeats again. You're like, oh crap, I have 13 hours for tomorrow's video. Oh god.
Right.
You know?
I'll bring up something topical, though I won't mention these specifics because I want this to be evergreen content. There's a big YouTuber that is getting backlash right now because he's taking a couple month vacation from doing his core series of videos.
Right.
And these are 20 to 30 minute videos, and a lot of these viewers, they just think, oh, it takes them 30 minutes to make this video and upload it. Meanwhile, it can take more than 30 minutes to get the video uploaded to YouTube, let alone the amount of time it takes to do everything that you actually have to do for the video. And
I find like the worst parts of like making a video or whatever is when it's rendering and you pretty much have no control for an hour.
Well,
right?
I do my rendering at night. I don't like the uploading part because I have to have my internet browser on for that to happen. Ooh. And typically I'm at the computer while it's uploading.
Sure.
And then there's all the SEO stuff and making sure the thumbnail's there. And yeah, that part's not fun for me.
It's easy for viewers, I'll say that much.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to sit down and watch a video. Making it, on the other hand, is a whole different story.
Right.
But try to line me up here. I'm all
yeah,
negative.
So a positive reason. Another reason to start a YouTube channel is if you're a creative person, you are now able to put your creative passions into a project or into multiple projects. Or you can be like myself, who's insane, and create a whole network of projects.
Sure.
Yeah.
It gives you that opportunity to.
You can basically try anything and everything you ever wanted to do in terms of creativity, which is very, very free.
The only limitation is yourself, really.
Exactly.
Do you have enough time? Do you have enough energy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to work that hard for it?
And if the answer is no for all of them, and you still do it, then there you go. That's me. I don't have enough time or energy, but I still do it.
Right, you still do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. A lot of people are like that. Or at least those that want to do it for a long period of time are.
Those that enjoy it enough, yeah.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, that offers you a lot of opportunities. Again, there's not that many websites where you can just do that. You know?
Right, there's not.
There's either a money restriction, or you have to sign up for things, or the features are bad, or the community isn't big enough, or, you know,
well, I mean,
the way you upload things takes too much time. Like there's a lot of restrictions out there.
Just to give you a couple of actual, you know, realistic examples, I recently
Real life.
I recently looked into a couple months ago. Looked into some other video sharing websites and thought about putting my videos on there as well. Vimeo, you have to pay a monthly subscription to have so many megabytes uploaded per month, or so many gigabytes uploaded per month, which is an interesting restriction. And then Dailymotion, you can only upload so many videos a day. And then there's VidMe that's just really small. So it's like you said, there's tons of different restrictions that YouTube doesn't give you.
Right.
So
which there are restrictions, definitely.
Yeah, I think when you start out, you can only do like 15-minute videos.
Right.
Which is fine.
But
you just make
but a lot of that very quickly goes away.
Yeah, it quickly goes away, and then you can just make more parts. So you can just split it up into different videos, so that's fine.
They're easily workaroundable, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, one of my restrictions back in the day, I don't know if you were doing YouTube at all when this was a thing, but you used to not be able to do custom thumbnails.
Yeah, I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
That was the deal.
Yeah.
You know, they give you 3 options, and you pick the one that looks the least cringy.
Yeah, basically.
You're like, hey, I don't look like an idiot in this one. I'm picking that. I'm taking that one right there.
Yeah.
But that was the thing, though. If you were a bigger YouTuber back then, you had that privilege to do that. Being like, oh, I'm going to get a good-looking thumbnail. And when the platform was relying on views, that was a really big deal to have that thumbnail.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
So much.
No one wants to click on an ugly photo of yourself, right? No one wants to click on a screen cap of the video halfway through.
I don't even want to click on an ugly photo of myself.
Right. But luckily, we don't live in that world.
No, we don't. So, you know, bringing it back down, because that's a great revelation. I guess you're going to bring out the negativity again. Why wouldn't you start a YouTube channel in 2017?
Life is meaningless. The ozone layer will disappear, and the sun's rays will kill us all before you could upload a video.
Why waste your time? Why would you waste your time on this?
Right, when the sun's deadly rays are coming for you.
See, I don't know if you're being mimey, or is this like an act? Like, it's debatable that why somebody wouldn't want to upload a video to YouTube, because why would they want to waste all their time on this?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think even if you believe that mindset, then you would give it like 20 or 30 years. So now would be the good time to put out the videos before we were all to die. So why not? But I was being meanie. So actual reason, maybe not to start. Ooh, this is one of my favorite YouTuber beginner mindsets. I'm gonna do YouTube, and I'm gonna get filthy fucking rich. I'm gonna be rolling in money when the first upload comes out, and in a year's time, I'm pretty much gonna be owning a mansion, right? Like that's just obvious.
It's just gonna happen.
If I'm a gaming YouTuber, I'm gonna be getting calls from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo begging me to play their new game. I'm like, sorry guys, you know, I'm only gonna play whichever company sends me their game first for free. And then they send like 10 copies and controllers and, like weird accessories and all the new tech and stuff. Like I tried VR before it was a thing. That's how rich I was.
Exactly.
But reality, sad reality.
This is sad indeed.
The money mine, the money farm, it's not real. It's not real.
Oh, no, I'm crying. No, it sucks.
Zach's been doing this for 6 years.
And I just had a week where I ate nothing but ramen and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Right. Not lying, being dead serious.
Where's Zach's mansion?
Where's it at? I should have 6 mansions, right?
For each year.
Yeah.
It's true.
If you're in it for the money, then YouTube's not the place.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Because, number one, the cost of getting into YouTube is probably big, depending on how all out you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, you're not going to be making that back for a couple of years. And then it will take even longer for you to be able to pay your bills. And then even longer for you to like have it be your big career where you're also having a couple of money left over.
Right.
And that's assuming all your videos and all your content and everything you're doing perfectly. Then you fall into that timeline of being like a few years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're not doing everything great, then you might want to add a few more years onto that as well. So,
exactly. No, this is very true.
Takes a ungodly amount of time.
I think this is why it's very important to, I mean, I would debatably say that there's not going to be a whole lot of people in the next few years that are actually going to be able to become rich on YouTube, let alone pay their bills with it.
Sure.
I think the only way for you to use YouTube as a vehicle towards a monetary value of success is by using it alongside some kind of business model or, your personal brand or, having other things alongside YouTube that's allowing you to make money.
Things like Patreon, merch, brand deals, etc.
Right. And of course,
but in terms of like straight hardcore ad revenue, like we already talked about that apocalypse. Why that isn't a thing?
Yeah, it's just not happening, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I guess if you wanted to start YouTube as a hobby, at this point doesn't really mean anything for you,
right?
But there's a lot of people out there who are just in it for financial gain. And to be fair, there ain't nothing wrong with wanting to be in it for financial gain.
Absolutely not.
Just set those expectations.
I want money. You kidding me?
Right.
I want that YouTube money. But
I want my mansion now.
As I've said, I've been doing this for 6 years. And for the first few years, there were a lot of things I wasn't doing right. And even to this day, there are still things that I'm improving on, that I'm getting better at, that hopefully I'm getting out of that phase of not doing things right.
Sure.
So it's, it's a grind. You got to be in it for the long haul.
In the 1 year of doing Blue Couch Productions, I've made less than $30.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's some figures for you.
I mean, in the last 6 years, I've made roughly $27, $30. Somewhere around there. Yeah.
There you go.
It's a little bit higher because of Patreon. So if you include Patreon and merch, I think I've made roughly like $80 in the last 6 years.
Sure. Overall. Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Overall.
It ain't your 9 to 5 working at McDonald's, right?
Now,
you're not making that money.
With that being said, I've spent about $500 on my PC, $200 on a mic, $200 on a headset. There's my TV and my monitor, my games, my camera. There's like the software, the money I spent on editing software every month. Like there's a lot of money I've put into this. Now, that doesn't mean I'm rich, but nowhere far from that. I just work a job. I work a few jobs on the side to help fund what is and was my hobby into what I want to make more professional.
The starving artist is a very real thing.
Yes.
This is not a stereotype. That's a legitimate reality.
It is a reality, yeah. And hopefully, throughout this podcast, we can help ourselves and you guys not be so much of a starving artist, be an artist that has McDonald's once a week.
Hey,
that's the dream. Actually, Taco Bell. Taco Bell once a week. That's the dream.
Taco Bell's cheaper too, so it'll work out better.
It is cheaper, and it's so much better.
Except for drinks, weirdly enough. They charge $2 for large drinks.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I mean, I'm going to get Mountain Dew there anyway, so I can just get a 2-liter Mountain Dew from the store. I'm set.
That's fair.
There you go.
That's
Sometimes
fair.
you get those for 99 cents.
Taco Bell and Dollar General lifestyle is what we're trying to get people to.
Exactly. That's
Right.
That's the dream right here.
not the caviar and wine.
No. If you want that, become a doctor or a lawyer, or go to college, get a real job. As
Spend
they
8
say.
years working to that.
Yeah.
But if YouTube's fun for you, if you like doing it, you ain't got to worry about the money for a while. If you're just enjoying it like along the way, then you're good to go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which I guess puts it back into positive territory. Yeah.
Right.
Positive. I hate positivity.
Right. I guess
exactly.
Bringing it.
Why you got to be so positive?
It's ironic. I'm positive towards everybody else, so then I go back to my room. I just cry in depression all the time. Want to kill myself. It's a very real thing. No. No.
I struggle with depression on a day-to-day.
On a minute-to-minute basis.
He goes hard, literally. He goes hard.
Go hard in the paint. Going back into that positivity thing, if YouTube is a way for you to put your passion out there, to explore those creative juices, to express yourself, and you're enjoying it as a hobby, I'd say that's a very good reason to start a YouTube channel.
Sure.
It's if you're not in it for the money, if you're recognizing that it's kind of a hard thing to do over in the long haul, and you like to learn, this is definitely the thing for you. Whether you become successful at it, whether you want to become successful at it, in the end, you're going to gain something from it personally and life-changing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go about it that way, for sure. And if you want to make money out of it, then, it's fair. You can do that. And there's strategies that we'll probably get into later on and maybe later episodes. But it's definitely a lot easier to do the hobby route.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and piggyback off of that same reason with another one, because we're talking about the fact that it is one of those ways to put yourself out there, and it's something you're going to enjoy, and you're going to get some kind of personal benefits from. And one of the personal benefits you're going to get is you're going to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to learn how to speak to people because somebody might be watching. Yeah,
that's a fun one.
Yeah.
That's a really fun one. Or I guess depending on how shy and awkward you are, maybe not a fun one.
Yeah.
Depending on how reserved you are, this may be a reason not to start, is you don't want to talk to people.
It could be. Yeah. That's true.
If you're that scared.
If you want to be negative about it, come on, Aden.
Yeah, being negative.
If we're being negative about it.
Right.
I mean, I'll just say briefly, personally, I was fairly shy growing up. I was very much of an introvert in middle school, elementary school. It was, I went to school, I did my work, I had maybe 2 friends. I went back home, did my homework. I was really into that whole I'm a nerd. I get picked on, I was an introvert. And then gradually through both other things outside of YouTube, what a big part of YouTube had to do with this is it got me out of my comfort zone. It helped me talk to people I don't know. I mean, we wouldn't have this podcast if me and Aden wouldn't have communicated on YouTube at some point.
Right, exactly.
It's crazy.
It's a weird life I live where when I'm outside of my room, right, I'll talk to family or whatever, but typically I'm not talking to friends unless it's through something like Discord. I don't really talk to people at my college. I don't talk to people when I'm getting food at the grocery or whatever. But I'll do more talking to a webcam in my room than I will to most people.
Yeah.
Right? And that's very weird for most people. Is if you're an introvert, right, you don't want to have those face-to-face interactions or whatever. But if you're a YouTuber, you kind of have to. It's sort of part of the territory. Something that you learn a whole lot. And that's the thing, too. If you're shy, a great way to get out of your shell is by doing this. If you've ever wanted to be, more socially open and maybe not, be outgoing or anything. You don't want to go full extrovert, but you want to get, a little taste of it.
Right.
YouTube's a great way to go about that. Kind of open yourself up.
I definitely consider myself now, like I was super introvert back in the day. I consider myself an ambivert, which is kind of a mixture between an introvert and extrovert. I can put myself out there now. Maybe not to the extent where I'm screaming and yelling in front of an entire room of people for whatever reason at a party or anything, but I can easily have group conversations. I can easily speak in front of a class of 20 people or in front of an auditorium of a couple of hundred people. I've given public speeches. I gave a public speech at my graduation. I've played a trumpet solo in front of an entire football stadium of like 10,000 people. So it's one of those things where YouTube definitely helped me with that introvert personality thing.
A fun experience for me is like throughout high school, going through it. What a lot of people hated in classes was when you were given a project and you had to, at the end, sort of present it, whether you were writing an English report or you had to do a science experiment or you had to do like a paper on a historical figure or whoever, right? Like at the end, you had to get up and orally speak. And most people that I knew were absolutely terrified of it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't like getting up in front of people. They just wanted to turn in the results, get their A, and move on. Right. They were done. They wanted to do it all by themselves. I was like that for a little while. But I noticed as I kept through doing YouTube, those sections where you had to get up and present ended up being my favorite parts of the entire class altogether.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that became really cool.
What I enjoyed. Right.
Yeah.
Like that was the part I was looking forward to, not the research or the writing or like the work, but like getting up there and presenting it. And, if we were in a group and they were like, oh, who's going to get up to speak? I went from not wanting to do it to volunteering,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, ooh, let me do it. I'll do it. Sure. It's what I do on YouTube on a day-to-day basis, but now I get to do it in front of people. Sure.
Right.
And I know it doesn't feel like that as a viewer when you're like watching a Let's Player or whatever. It's like, oh, he's talking to himself. He's in his room. But when you're doing it and you're doing it as much, like every day almost, like you quickly grow into it.
Yeah. That's great. I'll just keep up this little bit of positivity train before you go back into negative, just because I feel like it piggybacks right off this again. We talked about having friends in Discord and finding friends on YouTube. YouTube lets you connect with people on a personal basis.
Exactly.
And it's insane. I never would have thought, back in my day when I was a child, I was told by my parents, don't give away personal information on the internet. Don't talk to strangers. But we live in such a different world now to where it's very natural for me to be on Discord with Aden for 12 hours at a time.
Right.
Just
and keep
talking
in mind,
about all kinds of different things.
We don't live near each other. We're not in the same state. We've never meeting face to face before. I mean, we know what each other, what both of us look like simply because we both do YouTube. But like we've never met before. We've never done anything like that. Yet we're both able to carry on a normal conversation just straight through Discord and would even occasionally reveal personal stuff just as easily. Right. Like,
And we've only known each other for like 7-8 months.
Sure. As a result of YouTube, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
And through the art of collaboration and finding people's work that you're interested in and then building that relationship and getting to the point where we're at now where like we're both actively working on something for YouTube now.
Yeah.
We've been given this gift, this opportunity, this relationship through YouTube, and now we're kind of giving back to it.
Exactly. One of my best friends from the internet and stuff, like I've known for 5 years now. That's crazy. Like, I still talk to him to this day. I was messaging him earlier today. And it's now with that being said, if you're a younger viewer or younger listener, you're, younger than 13 years old, that doesn't mean be completely open with everybody you find on the internet. It is still very dangerous in certain things. Don't give your address and your phone number and stuff necessarily. But, YouTube gives you this great opportunity to interact with so many different people from so many different backgrounds. And it would be a shame to just give it up.
Exactly. or just ignore those conversations altogether.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
You can be that person that just posts. You can just post videos and then never interact with your comments, never reach out, never do anything, and a lot of people just don't grow because of that.
Yeah.
Both their channel isn't growing and they themselves aren't, because they're not willing to go out there or do anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to start, maybe keep that in mind too. Be willing to try new things and go out there. Kind of get to know other people and kind of learn more about yourself too.
Right.
I mean, I've learned so much about myself throughout the past year just doing this channel alone, and I did other YouTube channels before, but like throughout Blue Couch Productions and stuff, I've been able to build an entire community of people that I never knew on Discord.
Yeah.
People years before I wouldn't have known, people halfway across the globe in Europe, that are active participants in my Discord every day that come onto my streams and just talk,
It's crazy.
Absolute insane stuff.
Crazy. So yeah, friends. Aden, who's that person that has the most friends? What are they typically called? Segue.
Aren't you just the seggiest way of all the segues? Okay.
I've never done a podcast before, guys.
Never ever.
Never.
Never in a billion years has this man ever done a podcast that you can find on the internet.
What's a podcast?
Never been done. So last negative reason. You get real negative in here. Mindset, I guess number 3. We've already listed 2. First one being you think it's easy to do. The second one, you're in it for money. Third one, you want to do it because you gonna be famous, girl. You're gonna post that video and you maybe not be rich, it may be hard to do, but you're gonna get so much love from all these fans and people, and you're just gonna become like a household celebrity to the point where like you might not even need YouTube anymore. You be on TV, you'll be on like late night TV shows, be talking with Jimmy Kimmel and people,
Oh man, yeah.
And you'll be like, man, I remember when I was a YouTuber back in the day, now that I'm famous and all that sort of stuff, it's a bit different now. I can't talk to common people anymore.
I'm gonna be the next PewDiePie.
Be the next PewDiePie.
I'm gonna be the next Kim Kardashian.
Reason 3 as to not start YouTube. You're doing it because you think you're gonna get that fame, not money necessarily, but that recognition.
Yeah.
That you want everybody around you to think you're top dog or real.
It's not a good mindset.
And the reality, not only will you not be famous, there's actually a bigger chance on YouTube that you'll end up being infamous. Simply because you're exposing more of yourself out there. And if it turns out it's negative stuff, more people are going to remember you, to be fair, but not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So it can backfire rather quickly.
That is true. That is true. Now I will counter argument. I guess that's the right. Counteract that this particular mindset with
negative mindset.
Yeah, this particular negative mindset with, if you're doing YouTube and you're enjoying it and you're sharing it with your friends, if you're in a school setting, whether it's high school or college or even middle school, maybe, I don't know, people are starting young now. If you're in a business setting where you have friends in the workplace or something like that, and you start doing YouTube and you're really enjoying it, it's going to be a big part of your life. You're going to mention it to somebody at some point. And so you might get to be known as that one guy that makes YouTube videos. Sure. Which in a local setting may make you more quote unquote famous in that area. However, it's getting from 0 to PewDiePie is a big jump.
Exactly.
And even PewDiePie isn't particularly super famous. We should probably, Oh
yeah, that's true.
He's not a household name. So.
On the internet, maybe.
Right.
But not like outside of that.
Right.
So I think it's also worth noting that by doing YouTube, you will gain a reputation and you'll definitely have a presence online. The mindset that we're talking about is that you think your presence is going to become enormous simply by doing it.
Right.
And your reputation is going to go from really small to like over the roof overnight. You know?
Yeah.
Like we have reputations, right? We have people look at us certain ways. People have preferences, right? People expect certain things out of us. Does that mean that Sabijan and myself, Blue Cash Productions, are like on Jay Leno or, you know, like we're mentioned by the Wall Street Journal often? No, we're not.
Jay Leno.
Yeah, Jay Leno ain't even around
he
anymore.
He ain't even around anymore.
That was dated by my statements. That was the sad
That's like
part.
4 years dated.
That was the most negative thing I've said all night. You know, reasons not to be on this podcast. I mentioned Jay Leno.
You're just not going to be on the Ed Sullivan Show from YouTube. It's just
darn.
It's just not going to happen.
Forgot about that. That's past my prime. That's past my generation.
I mean, that's past mine too, but I still know.
How many people know about the Ed Sullivan Show?
I doubt that anybody wanting to start a YouTube channel in 2017 particularly knows about the Ed Sullivan Show. I have very weird interests and a very interesting being, you know, growing up. So I know a lot of older things.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, like, if we want to get a guest on this podcast, I think we have to start with Ed Sullivan.
I think that's very important. So Ed Sullivan was the Ed Sullivan Show was an old TV channel talk show back in the like 40s and 50s.
Right. Oh, is he dead
50s
now?
and 60s. 50s and 60s.
Am I bringing up a dead guy?
Oh, I'm pretty sure he's passed. I mean, to let you know, Elvis Presley, which is a dead singer that was really popular back in the day. For the kiddos that don't know, got his start on the Ed Sullivan Show. Yeah,
he died at 74.
Yeah.
I'm awful. I'm awful, everybody.
Oh man. Anyways, getting off topic, but
exactly. Yeah, you're not gonna reach that fame overnight.
No,
you know?
Absolutely not. Mm-mm.
Here's the thing, like the three mindsets, they could be potential things that would happen, right? One day you could be doing YouTube and making money. Mm-hmm. One day you could be doing YouTube and having fame. One day it could be easy to do if you have like a staff of editors editing for you and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. For people starting out, you achieve none of those. If you are in year 1 or even year 10 for some people, you're not achieving any of those.
I want to go ahead and bring up, hopefully this doesn't date the podcast too much, but I want to go ahead and bring up the Jake Paul, Logan Paul stuff really briefly, because it's very easy for a new YouTuber in 2017. We already date the podcast by saying 2017, so it's fine. Okay.
Right.
For somebody wanting to start a channel now, they can easily see that one of the bigger channels currently is Jake Paul and Logan Paul, who are two younger guys who have made fame and money and are creating really easy to do content on YouTube. And they've done this in the last 6 months on YouTube.
Right.
However, they did not go from 0 to 6-8 million in 6 months. In terms of actual people following them, this was just on YouTube. They did come from other platforms in which they had learned how to kind of break this system. I mean, they're also not particularly morally right in this strategy, and I highly doubt that in the long term, unless they're doing a lot of stuff outside of YouTube, I don't follow them, I could care less, unless they're doing stuff outside of YouTube, their success could be very minimal and only in the next couple of years, if only the next few months, because of certain things. But it is important to see that their success came from other platforms. They had already, quote unquote, worked hard to get those numbers by using
Logan
those
Paul
systems.
had been on Vine for years.
Right.
Years. And so for the outsider who wouldn't know that he started on Vine, it's on YouTube, it's like, oh, we only got here in 6 months. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Not the case, right? You know.
Right.
There's always for anybody breaking through, I would argue, at least on YouTube, they're not actually an overnight success.
Right.
No one on YouTube is an overnight success. No one on Twitch, no one on Vine is an overnight success. Even if we can't see where they started working and where they got to, guarantee you there was a bit of work beforehand, right? No one just pops up out of nowhere anymore.
Right.
You know? They might have back then, but I don't think it happens nowadays. And if it does, I think we're missing a part of the story.
Right. I mean, and you said that Logan Paul has been on Vine for years. Jake Paul was a Disney Channel, was a Disney Channel star, which means he got his start in child acting, which means he had to work for years to do that. PewDiePie, you know, he quit college, was almost homeless for a little while. I mean, he worked hard to get to the success he has now, and I think I can be said for just about anybody that's successful on the platform now.
There's no fame, there's no sex. Sex. There's no fame, there's no money, there's no success without struggle.
Yes.
Right? You don't achieve any of those three. You don't achieve one of those three without some form of struggle. Right?
Yeah.
And obviously, people go through various forms of it. Some people struggle more than others. Some people struggle for a long time. Others don't. But everybody has that struggle. Everybody has that period where they put in a good amount of hard work to get to where they're at. If they have money, fame, or success, chances are they had to have sacrificed something, struggled, or put in work. One of the three.
Most definitely. And if you think doing YouTube is going to get you a lot of sex, I'm sorry, buddy.
That's wrong too.
That's wrong too.
That's wrong.
Oh man, just go up to a girl.
Add that to the reasons that made me not to start.
Exactly. Just go up to a girl and be like, "Hey, baby, I make YouTube videos on the internet."
Yeah. See how well that works out.
Yeah, give me your number.
Right.
We'll talk later. Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Being a YouTube star is a lot different than being a rap star. You know.
Yeah.
You think rap and you think like gangsta. You think hood. You think dangerous. You think rebel. You think YouTube star and you think guy in his mom's basement who did a couple of videos. Like, that's not sexy. I don't care how many subscribers you have. Like, no girl is going to be like, ooh, 30,000 subscribers? That's hot.
That's...
like, it's different.
That's what I like to see. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, lady comes up to you, she's like, I saw your part 18 of Shovel Knight. So good. It's like, yeah, I know. I spent a day on that. Put a lot of hard work into it. It's like, oh man, you're on fire. When's episode 19 coming out? Next Monday, babe. Next Monday.
Episode 73 of Binding of Isaac. That was just such a good run. Oh man, you just did Azazel so much justice. Here's my number.
Right. If you have a girl that came up to you and watched all 72 episodes of Binding of Isaac,
marry her.
73. She's a keeper, is what I'm saying. You need to
marry her.
Yeah, marry her immediately.
Yeah,
she's yours.
Absolutely. Oh man, and then collab with her because couple channels do really well.
Right. Exactly. Turn her into content.
Key tip number 1 of YouTube, which goes into my next positive.
This is on top of
this segues. It's just so natural today. I love it.
Yeah.
Tip number 1 of YouTube: turn everything you love into content.
Right.
Everything.
Your dog, your family, your day, your time.
Yes. So the actual positivity thing here, a reason to start a YouTube channel is, especially if you're a gamer, and even if you're not a gamer, I'll mention it in a second. It gives you a way to get through your backlog of games. So you may have bought 200 games on Steam sales, and now they're in your game. They're in your computer, and you've only played 7 of them. Well, you can make Let's Plays and live stream a ton of these games, and that's a great way to be productive while playing video games. Look at that. And your mother said you could never do that. There you go.
For a career.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't right away.
You can't right away. She's right away, right? Get that part-time job, go to college, do all that stuff.
But eventually.
But eventually, hopefully, maybe there's possibility.
I think if you're a media reviewer, just in general, it's a good way to get through your backlog. If you review film, music, magazines.
Absolutely.
Is there a magazine review channel out there? I need to find those people.
Man, you're giving me ideas today. Ooh,
Right.
I'm about to start doing magazine reviews. No.
Exactly. You can get through your backlog of favorite media.
Favorite media. Or food.
Yeah.
It's traveling. Traveling is another way that people do really well with making videos from. No, it's really cool because I am a media connoisseur of sorts. I like to consume media, but I'm also the type of person that can't just sit there and watch a movie for 2 hours all the time, because I really want to make sure I'm doing something productive, doing something active, and not just so passive. So the way I reinsure these types of things of consuming my media is on this very channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, I do recaps of anime. I'm doing recaps of, TV shows and movies and games, and, eventually I'm going to get into doing more music stuff on YouTube. It's just, these are a lot of different things that I find passion in, and now I'm able to turn it into content, which helps fuel my creative fire, which is another thing that's really big about me.
Exactly. By you being able to go through these pieces of media again, it's not only helping you make content, but might inspire you to make something in the future as well.
Right.
So it's a very valid point. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yo, I got another sick negative point over here.
Can I say one more last thing about this positive?
Go ahead.
So you said something about turning content into your family and your dog, and while part of that sounds like a joke, he's right.
It's real. It's a real thing.
You can do vlogs.
Yeah.
You can do reviews about your food. I mean, it's really, you can turn your conversations into content. Hashtag this podcast right now.
Yo, prime example. Today,
now,
the day of recording this. The day of recording this, August 4th, spoilers. Blue Couch Productions, my YouTube channel. Today's video, Zach, do you know what it is?
Oh, I forgot the name of it, but I did see it. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Today I posted a video called Midnight Vlogs, which is my vlog show. And the title was Running Some Errands. And literally, that entire video is 6 minutes of me and my brother going through various stops, doing things like getting gas, getting food. I had to deposit a check. And throughout that little trip, I recorded it, turned it into content, did a little bit of editing to make things interesting, and then uploaded it, right? I turned my whole afternoon into content, and as we speak, right now, I'm going to see how many views it has, because it hasn't been out for that long.
I'm just thinking, because that's so different than your other midnight vlogs, that I want to watch it as soon as we get done with the podcast.
Right, and it's short.
Yeah.
It's like 6 minutes.
Yeah, which is like when I go use the bathroom again, I know what I'm watching.
It's like 5 views right now,
okay.
but it's like really late at night, so that's partially why.
Yeah.
We're late people. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem with life.
You're saying it's August the 4th. Over here it's August the 5th already.
Oh, it's fixing to be the 5th for me in about 5 minutes, so we're already later tater. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I turned my trip into content, and that's not the first time I've done that. I did a vlog about literally walking to Subway and then walking back.
Yeah.
Zach's done like 19 vlogs. And sure, they started out being like, hey, here's Japan. Hey, here's interesting scenery.
I'm in a country. It's different, yeah.
But as it went on, it's like, hey, I'm in my dorm.
Right. I'm doing different things, and it's not necessarily glamorous, right? Which brings up the point that, you can do content about things that you enjoy doing, getting through your backlog of media and all that kind of stuff. But you can also do content about things that you're not enjoying because you need to do them. Like going to the gym. You want to get healthy. You want to have motivation to do it. Put it in your daily vlog.
Mm-hmm. Doing laundry, mowing the lawn, having to go out and get something, time-consuming things.
Right.
You got a phone? Well, hey, what's this? Content. Even if you can't film, even if, for whatever reason, there's, people there and you don't want to film, which you should film. They won't mind. But two, what you could also do is if you have a YouTube, chances are you have social media. Take pictures.
Yeah.
You know, put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram. Take some goofy photos of your surroundings. You know, that's still getting you out. That's still getting your image out. And sure, you can't record, but again, you turn that trip into content.
And I think the best part of doing these types of vlogs and that kind of stuff is you get really interesting facial expressions, which your viewers will turn into emotes and emojis for your Discord server.
Right. So that might have been a misconception, is people were like, well, how on earth is there any engagement out of that? How on earth is someone walking around from step 1 to 2? How is that engaging to anybody? And if you do it right, you know, you can have it be entertaining. You could have it be informal. You can maybe talk about something while you're there. You can maybe make it funny, have weird faces. You know, if you know your audience, you can turn the dumbest, most mundane things into something exciting for them, right?
Absolutely.
It just depends on how you go about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
There's ways to get around it.
Oh, but there's so much positivity in this air.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's going to go down again. Oh, man.
Time to drop a nuke on this positivity rainbow.
Oh, man.
Okay. Reasons to maybe not start. And I hear this one a lot. YouTube. You know, I would start a channel, but it's just too difficult. You know? It's too hard. You know? You have to,
that's a good one.
Make a channel. I have to record. I have to be consistent. I have to do all this stuff. You know, it's just too much. I can't do it. I don't want to put myself through that commitment. I mean, it'd be fun for me to do, but, you know, I don't know if I can handle it.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Yeah. You know?
And keep in mind, these aren't people who are like 8 years in and, you know, they're having fatigue issues.
Right.
These are people who haven't even started. Right?
Right.
These are people that don't even know yet. And they're already saying that.
They think it's a cool idea. They might even have a idea for a channel, but contrary to it's super easy to get into this, these people just think it's extremely hard. And while we've talked about the barrier of entry being, you know, fairly difficult, it's actually also fairly easy in other aspects.
Sure. I agree 100%. My thing to those people would be, I think if you're interested in it, there's nobody pointing a gun to your head being like, you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start, there's nobody pointing a gun to your head being like, you have to keep doing it. Right?
Right.
If you want to experiment and try it, there's nothing physically stopping you from trying it. Right? There's nothing getting in the way of being like, hey, I want to try this out for a little bit. That being said, if you want it to be successful, when you start, you're going to have to keep it up, and you're going to have that consistency. But if you're not focusing on the consistency and making it big, if you're not worried about that, you're simply worried about YouTube itself.
Yeah.
Then maybe take it slower for a little bit. See how it goes. You know, there ain't nothing stopping you.
Yeah, I think if you're the type of person that's scared of how difficult it is to get into it, I think success isn't at the forefront of your thoughts, right? It's just, this looks like a fun thing that I want to do, but I just don't feel like I'm capable of doing it. And I agree 100% with what you're saying, you know, and that's something I haven't particularly thought of much because of how much I enjoy doing this. If for whatever reason tomorrow I was just like, you know, I just don't want to do YouTube anymore. This is something I don't want to do. I just don't feel like taking the time to do this. Even 6 years in, even with other people's expectations, even with a decent viewer base, I can just say bye and hang up the phone and never come back to it. Or
you're not signed up on a contract.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You don't have a boss.
Or I can leave, and then in 3 years, 20 years, 50 years, I can come back if it's still around.
Sure.
So it's that freedom.
Right.
Which is, I mean, we talked about was a positive thing earlier. It's free. You can do whatever.
Whatever you want to it. Again, I don't think there's a reason to be worried or to be overwhelmed by how difficult things are. And I think there's a lot of useful knowledge and tips out there just getting started, you know?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the technical stuff, right? In terms of how to literally make a YouTube channel, you know, what are the dimensions for like making art? You know, how do I upload a video, right? Like that information is everywhere and can be easily solved. When you get into the strategies and the theories of it, you know, the advice can be kind of crappy, depending on where you go. But hopefully, we can fill in the gaps for that too.
Right.
I think the point is, if you really, really, really think that YouTube is like super difficult, give it a try. Give it a try. You might be surprised about it. Which again is not to say that it's easy. I mean, we already debunked that point earlier.
Right.
Right. It's not easy. There's clearly work being put into it. But at the same time, you know, there's not a gun being pointed to your head. You know, you don't have to succeed if you don't want to. If you want it to be a hobby, you can do that. I think the thing is, don't let your fears or your preconceptions about YouTube stopping. Don't let all that stop you from doing something you love or want to do.
Right.
You know?
Ooh, I got a good quote right here. I got a good quote. It is only as difficult as you make it.
Right. That's very true.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's those perceptions.
I'll bring it back to a gaming channel real quick just because it's something I know so well. You know, I could easily do 30-minute Let's Plays 2 times a day, and that's extremely easy for myself. And I mean, that's literally 2 days out of the week of me just recording and editing, and then the other 5 days I've got free. But because of the ambitious self that I am, and because of all the content I like creating, I make it so much more difficult on myself by wanting to get better at editing, by wanting to upload different and more unique and better edited things. And so for me, it's very difficult to do everything that I want to do.
Right.
But I love the challenge.
Overwhelmed all the time.
Yes.
We get overwhelmed, and a lot of YouTubers who have been going on for years get overwhelmed consistently. But part of it for us is that we're very much we like the challenge.
Yeah. You know,
if we didn't find it enjoying, if we didn't like problem solving, if we didn't like going over hurdles, if we didn't like doing something creative, then we wouldn't do it, right? Again, it all comes down to those preconceptions. If you view it as being something difficult, then you probably will. I'm sure just by hearing Zach say that he uploads Let's Plays for like a week or whatever, and it only takes a day for him, I'm sure that must be mind-blowing to some people.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, no, right? Let's Plays are really hard to do, right? Like, you have to get all the software down, you have to record it, like, sometimes the gameplay doesn't work, sometimes the audio doesn't sync up right. Like, something easy for you is probably, like, mind-blowingly scary for somebody just starting out.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. And it's...
But, you can learn it.
You can learn it. It's the same thing with vlogs, right? I mean, it's the same thing with any kind of content. It's, it's what you want to do. It's what you want to make out of it.
Right.
I
think if you have that drive and the willingness to start, then no matter how difficult something seems to you, you're still going to want to do it because you have that drive and passion.
Right. And
that will to make.
Once you see a vision in your head of something you want to create, as long as you're a very creative person, which I'm assuming the majority of people that want to get into YouTube, that actually get into it, are creative people. Once you see that vision, you almost go to, you almost take every single step you can to get to that vision, to realize that in a physical, in a digital form.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's just, that's some good stuff.
I think for creative people, the things that you think about doing and dream about doing the most end up becoming reality.
Which is amazing.
Right? They start out as thoughts. They start out as something you want to do. Mm-hmm. But if you're the creative type, if you're a YouTuber, if you're something like that, the goal isn't to just have the idea, but to take that idea and execute on it. Right?
Right.
So,
and when it comes to difficulty in this, right? If you truly think it's really hard to do, I'll tell you this right now. The hardest thing of all this not getting technical, not getting into how you do content, not including your personality. None of this is as difficult as starting.
Sure.
Starting is the most difficult thing.
Right. It's harder than ending, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
It's harder than continuing,
Yeah.
for sure. When you're small,
Mm-hmm.
it's not as bad because at least you've started.
Mm-hmm.
When you're big, you have stuff to work to. You have motivations. You have things driving you.
And I think I've always...
You have more things driving you.
Right. I think I've always lived my life as, I don't want to regret the things that I didn't do. And I think a lot of people should kind of live this kind of mentality of, you've heard it cliche line before. It's not the things you did that you'll regret. It's the things you didn't do that you'll regret. Mm-hmm. So if YouTube is something that you actually really want to do, now is a better time than ever.
Yeah. Right.
Today is better than tomorrow.
And I'm sure, if you're the kind of person who listens to advice and you happen to have stumbled on this podcast, you've probably heard from other videos from years ago even. People in 2015 saying now's the best time to start. People in 2016 saying now's the best time to start. And even in 2017, in the current apocalypse, you still hear people saying now's the best time to start. Here's the secret. It's always going to be the best time to start for you.
Yeah.
It's always going to be.
Exactly.
It's a matter of doing it is the thing. Actually starting.
And I think in the end, you've already won if you've decided to start and you've started, because
sure.
It's either one of two things, right? You either find the thing that you're really passionate about and you go for it and you keep working towards it to try to be successful, or you find out maybe it's not for me and then you go do something else that's more beneficial for your life.
You're not living with the regret.
Right. If it's ever a question of how can I be successful as an individual person, the number one thing you can do is to just go do a lot of things and try them and figure out what you're good at, what you're passionate about. And if you're both passionate and good at something, then you've just hit the jackpot. And then it's just hard work.
Agreed. Definitely.
Yeah. I think that's
But man, look, that whole negative point was more positive than anything.
Yeah, I think that's
we spent the less time on the negative thing, and we turned it into something positive.
Yeah.
That's just how we think, guys.
I'm just that positive force, man. That's just what I'm all about.
We're not negative.
I
did have one other tiny little negative thing.
All right.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I did have one other negative thing that I've heard a lot, too, is people sort of being like, oh, I don't have a unique idea, so I'm not going to start until I do. Like, they're wanting to start, but they wait on it.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to wait until I get good money and have equipment. Or I'm going to wait until I get the good idea and wait. Or I'm going to wait until a certain thing becomes popular and then jump on it. Right. These are the waiters. They want to start, but they're not quite there yet.
Yeah, that's a very real thing, even for YouTubers already in it.
Sure.
But, how do you find that unique idea? It's all about starting something that you're already in, that you would enjoy, watching other people do similar things and other things, and then being inspired by the things that you've seen and the things that you're doing and creating something maybe not entirely unique. There's that old saying that there's nothing, everything unique has already been created. But with your personality, with your experience or lack thereof, what you're creating is still unique. Right. Unless you're mocking, or unless you're like completely copying Markiplier or PewDiePie in a Let's Play format that's the exact same. And then you could arguably just say that that's a crappier version of the original, so it's still unique. It's
sure.
You just need to start.
I think a lot of that comes from the mindset of like, yeah, I want to start, but I want to get the biggest foot forward when I start. I want to make the best first impression.
Right.
Meanwhile, the guy who didn't care about that and just started, not only has he started, for one thing, so he's going to have more experience on you in time, by the time you make that big step forward, he's already ahead of you, right? He's already gone past you. And he may have had worse videos at the start, but by the time you make that big step forward, he's like 2 ahead now. You know?
Exactly.
Even if you started off in a worse position. So rather than wanting to wait, rather than wanting to be like, oh, I want my idea, or I want the equipment, or oh, I want to wait until, you know, I'm out of school, or oh, I want to wait until I get my own room because I have brothers or siblings, or oh, I want to wait till whatever. Wait all you want, but the fact of the matter is, there is no advantage in waiting.
There never is.
You know? There's no advantage in sitting on your creative talent and your creative ideas not doing anything.
No.
And if you think, oh, well, you know, I'm trying to make those ideas better, the idea can get better, but the execution's not going to change unless you do it.
Right.
You know?
Well, and even if you do stumble upon that unique idea, and after all of that waiting of not doing anything, you put out a version of that unique idea, and it becomes popular, guess what? People that's been doing it for a while are going to pick up on that unique idea. They're going to take it for themselves, and they're going to do it a lot better than you.
A lot better. Right. You know?
I'd say a way to get around this, right? If you're that waiter, if you're not making a YouTube channel today because of this, what you could do is, you know, I've already said find something you're interested in and do it. Do that. Keep doing that. And then that day that you actually do find that unique idea, scrap your channel, make a new channel, and then do that.
If you have to.
If you have to. Like, maybe you can use your current channel at that point. Maybe you've made success off of the one thing you've already done, and now you can just add that onto and you're good. Either way, you're putting an effort towards everything.
Right. Yeah, I agree 100%. And even if it's like, okay, you know, I have to hold on to my idea. I can't post it right now for whatever reason. If you were 100% stuck in that mindset, here's something you could do. You could make your YouTube channel. You can post videos not involving the idea, and you can get good enough to where you finally feel confident about posting your genius idea or whatever, and then post it. Right? But you'll still have gained the experience. You'll still have gained the knowledge. And here's the thing. If that genius idea flops, oh, hey, look, you already have 50 subscribers now.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look, you already have a viewer base now.
Right. And you can try your next
idea. You're not losing anything.
Yeah.
You're only gaining.
Also, everybody has ideas. Everybody.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
I know people in my life personally that mention I had that idea before they did, but
yeah, you hear it everywhere.
You didn't do it, you know.
Here we are.
You didn't make it, and it sucks. And I'm glad you have that idea, and it's awesome. Like, it's a good idea, but
there's someone making $1 million off of it now because you decided to wait.
Yeah, because you didn't have the money, you didn't have the time. I mean, and these are very real things that I think all of us struggle with, and personally, I mean, I grew up in an environment and a household where there was very minimal money coming in. I mean, I was lucky to have food on the table. I was lucky to have clothes and a hot roof over my head. And I was happy about that. And I still am to this very day, right? Like, I'm still in college. I'm 21 years old. I haven't moved out fully yet. I'm in an apartment, but in a college, you know, environment. You know, if I had listened to those people that were saying, oh, but in order to be successful on the internet or in order to be successful on YouTube, you need to have money. You need to know people. Well, here's the thing. You can get money by getting a part-time job.
Sure.
And you can get to know people by making videos and putting yourself out there.
Or just pay for people.
Or you can pay for people.
Right.
But I don't have the money, get a part-time job. But I am only 13 years old. Sell baseball cards at school, sell Pokemon cards, you know, lemonade stand.
Sure.
This is something I've recently learned. This is like 4 or 5 months ago I learned this, which is crazy, but it's such a big lesson. The resources are out there. You can get the resources pretty easily.
Let's just go for them. Let's just go through every little dumb excuse and just like nip them in the butt like one by one.
That's good,
right?
yeah.
Like let's go like through all the common excuses and just nip them right now.
I'm down.
Just to go through them. We'll do like one after another. I'll start.
Okay.
I don't have a webcam. You got a phone.
You got a phone.
Go.
Got a phone. I don't have a phone. You can get a $30 smartphone at Walmart that has maybe a crappy camera, but it's a camera. It's a start.
I don't have $30. You could work.
You could work.
I can't get a job. You can sell something.
You can sell something. Now, here's an excuse. I live in a third world country. I don't have good internet.
Fair point.
That's a good excuse. That's a good excuse. However, if you live in a third world country and you don't have good internet, I highly doubt you're listening to this podcast.
That's true too.
So, I mean, it's been said, and I'll say it as well. Even if you're in the poverty level of people, which I personally am, I'll just go ahead and put that out there, you know, by accessing the internet, being on YouTube, listening to a podcast, which not too many people know of, you are in the 1%. Which sounds crazy. You think the 1% is just Donald Trump and his minions, but it's, you know, it's definitely...
Or the people who made the Minions
movies. Right. The Minions movies, yeah. Or them. Yeah. That's more of the 0.2%, not the 1%. Right. Like, money is
we owe to.
Easier to get. Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got people that go on the side of the street and beg for money. You know? Do I think that's 100% morally correct? Not necessarily, but that doesn't matter. It's you can get money.
Sure. Here's another one. I don't have a capture card to record games.
Well, damn. That's a good one.
If only you had a computer that like not only had like flash games to record, but even if you didn't want to do that, like if only there was a way you could like run an emulator, you know?
Yeah.
And record them somehow. Oh wait, you can for free.
Yeah.
Not only can you download the emulator for free, download the game for free, but also download a program to record it for free, download a program to edit it for free, and then post it on free YouTube.
My first YouTube video that was on my gaming channel. I'll go through my first two. My first one was a trailer for a series that's going to be on this YouTube channel if you're watching it. So you'll get to hear about that story at some point, I'm sure.
Something's never changed.
Something's never changed. That trailer was using Windows Movie Maker on a laptop that's roughly about worth $25 right now. Of course, it was more expensive then, but it was Windows Movie Maker. It was no audio. It was text and a few images with music on it. And there was my first video on this on my old channel, right?
Right.
The second video was a Let's Play of a game. It was a Nintendo Entertainment System game using a free emulator, using a free screen recorder. It wasn't good.
Hypercam.
It wasn't good. No, this was called
before Hypercam.
This was before Hypercam. This was it was Cam Studio.
Hey.
Was Cam Studio or Camtasia?
I think it was Camtasia.
Oh, it was Camtasia.
Yeah,
Cam Studio is pretty good. Camtasia is probably the crappy one I'm thinking about. Anyways, back in the day, all it would do was record my audio. It wouldn't record the game audio. By the way, I don't have a microphone.
Oh, there you go. Nip that one.
If you have a laptop, it's got a built-in microphone, and that's what I used. Was it crappy? Yes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Quality is important, but starting will get you towards that ability to create more quality.
Oh, I don't have a good microphone? You can get a Blue Yeti Snowball. New for about $50. If you're going used, you could probably get one for $30. And that's going to give you like some really good quality just starting out. And the thing is, that boy is USB.
Yeah.
Plug that in to any crappy laptop. You get your free audio recording program of choice, Audacity, wink wink,
And
record
and
it.
Audacity is free.
Yeah.
Also, that the Blue Snowball microphone, that's kind of the top end of budget mics, under $50 or right around $50.
Right.
You can get a Logitech headset mic for.
Ooh,
this is my first headset and my first mic. It was only $20.
Yeah, there you go.
I had a capture card. My first capture card was only $20. It was for older games, but it was my first one.
You might be one of those people right now who are maybe listening to this podcast on one of their video game consoles of choice, and you have these nice, sick gaming headsets that you use to chat with your buddies on the Call of Duties.
Ooh.
Hey, what if that mic, you can maybe record videos with that, right? You didn't have to buy anything. You already got your mic right there. And having headphones is pretty good too, because you can monitor audio. So you get a 2-in-1 deal with that.
Oh, that's true. Ooh, let me talk about my favorite excuse.
Right.
I don't have the time.
It's just not enough time in the world.
Not enough time to do it.
It just isn't. Okay. So, what the average age that people grow old to is about 70 something, roughly.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So 70 years, right? Break that down into 365 days in those years. 24 hours. 24 hours in a day. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of calculating. I'm gonna do a bit of calculating here. Let's see. So we got about 24 hours in a day. Right there. Okay. So that's 1,440 minutes in one day. So we're gonna times that by 365. So in a year, about 500 or so.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go ahead and times that 70 more times, just for fun. 36 million. It's a lot of minutes.
That's a lot of minutes, yeah.
You know how many Let's Play parts you can do in that amount of time?
Way too many. Absolutely way too many.
So where does the excuse come from? I don't have any time. You have 36 million minutes. If you live to 70, if you live longer, that's going up. You're in the bonus range now. You bonus time.
I just want to bring up a couple of personal experiences with time. One of the YouTubers, smaller YouTubers that I am really that I kind of look up to. Ironically, he also looks up to me. Is he's in his younger 30s. He is working a full-time job. He lives in a household with children that run around a lot. Mm-hmm. And guess what? He records YouTube videos every week. 3 to 4 of them a week. And how does he find this time, right? But myself, I'm a college student. At one point, I was getting 2 degrees. I work multiple jobs to this day. I'm a music major, so I inherently have a lot of recitals and rehearsals and concerts and stuff every single week that I have to be a part of. Well, how do I find the time to put into these videos? Well, it's partly, finding the time to do something you want to do. If you want to watch an episode of your favorite TV show, you're going to find time to do that. If you like video games, you're finding a time to play them. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably finding time to listen to it. And
so by that logic, if you want to do YouTube, if you want it to make it your passion, hobby, career, business, whatever, you think you'll find time to do it?
Exactly.
I'm willing to bet you are.
And let's say, okay, Zach, I get you. If you want time for it, you'll make time. That makes sense. But I do have an extremely busy schedule. There's just no way for me to do a video a week. Well, here's the thing, right? How many hours of sleep are you getting? Are you getting 10 hours of sleep a night?
Sure.
That's great. I'm really happy for you. If that's something you're happy with and you don't want to change that, don't. But if you really want to do YouTube, change it to 9 hours of sleep. You get an hour a day. You can put out a YouTube video that way. Change it to 8 hours of sleep. That's 2 hours a day. And that's up to your discretion. I personally get 6 hours of sleep a night, sometimes less. Is that entirely healthy? Not necessarily, but 6 hours is definitely enough for somebody to live off of.
Sure. If you're working and you're on break, per se, you got like an hour to kill, right? You can get some food, maybe, sure. Or pop out that little laptop. And maybe, if you don't have internet, you could upload there. That's one thing.
That is something I used to do.
If you have your video footage, you could edit there. That's another thing to do. If you have your video equipment nearby, which props if you're bringing it with you everywhere you go, you can maybe even record there too.
That's very possible, yeah.
In that 1 hour span of time, look at what all you're able to accomplish while you're on the job. You're on break, You're given this little bit of time, and here you are able to do all that. All that sort of stuff.
I definitely want to do an episode, Aden, about time management as a YouTuber and the things you can kind of hack time. Just to briefly give like a couple more examples of things I do. I'm a college student, and I do have to have money to survive. So I work multiple jobs. The type of jobs that I work, though, the couple of them are really flexible. One of them is working in a library, and so I'm able to edit my videos on the job. I'm able to upload videos on the job. That doesn't mean that's the only thing I'm doing there, but it is one of the things I'm able to do. I'll mention the internet excuse in a bit, because I think that's also interesting. I, on the way to class, in the middle of classes, sometimes in class, I'm on my phone looking at comments and answering back to them. I'm, putting videos in playlists. Maybe a video just uploaded at 12 p.m. while in my music history class. Don't kill me, Laura Kennedy. I'm like taking that video and putting it in a playlist. It's
you're making connections with people, either on Discord or through comments or business partners that you want to have or meet, or you email them, or you work on something else. Even if you can't film, there's still things you could be doing in those hours and minutes of time. And I think part of this excuse comes from people in grade school or whatever, who maybe don't have as big of a concept as time. Like they think that days are just short for whatever reason. Here's the thing. If you were to ask either of us to trade our life now to have those hours that you have currently, we'd both say yes, right? I'm not wrong there.
No. I mean, I was an AP class, honors class going, marching band captain, multiple clubs, high school student, working a job senior year. And even through all of that, I still had more time then than I do now. Which is insane.
Right. Here's the thing. Like, your typical school day. Let's just start. 8 to 3, right? That's school. Even in between that big period of time where you supposedly can't do nothing, you got to eat lunch. So that's cafeteria time, whatever.
On your phone.
There's a couple of minutes where you're going in between one class to another. And I'm willing to bet, for most people, not all, that there's that one class where, like, no one really cares.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of get away with a little bit. You want to try to maybe, like, not condoning anything.
No, of course not. Education is important.
Education's important. I'm just saying, you could probably sneak your phone out and do a little bit of something. I'm just saying. But here's the thing. All right, after that, from 3 o'clock to when you got to go to bed or whatever, we'll assume 10.
Right.
I don't know how
that's good. That's a good fair number, though.
I don't know how young people are.
Right.
Okay. So, homework, right? That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. Or maybe you did the thing I did and you waited until the next morning to do it.
While you're in class?
Or in a previous class. Yeah. But let's say you're responsible and you do it at home. All right, that's 2 hours. It's 5 o'clock now. Oh, okay, you got to shower, right? You got to get things ready for tomorrow. We'll take another hour off. Bonus. 6 o'clock rolls around. Nothing else. That's 4 hours. That's 4 solid hours of stuff you can be doing. And maybe you have to do chores, right? 7, 3 hours. Still, you could be doing a lot in 3 hours, right? There's time. And here's the thing. If you're one of those rebellious kids that don't even go to bed at 10, oh man, you got a whole night.
You got an entire night. You can sleep in class the next day. You're good.
Yeah. Or if you go to bed super early And if you wake up at 6 a.m. and no one else is awake, oh, hey, where did all this time come from? You know? Suddenly no one's awake and it's quiet, and you can not only edit and like render and post stuff, but if you're quiet enough, maybe even record. You know?
Yeah.
And that's just on the school days. Weekends, you're free. Holidays, you're free. And school gets way too many holidays. Like President's Day, you know, weeks, fall break. There ain't a holiday there. You're just out for a week in fall. You got a whole week to do stuff.
Yeah.
And then summer comes around where there's just months out of the year where you don't do anything. Oh, come on. You know, if you had an excuse before, you definitely don't now.
Right. Now, this is, of course, talking to your average person in high school, in middle school,
in high school.
You know, and sometimes even in college, you know?
Right. And things change
Things
as you get
do
older,
change,
for sure.
Absolutely. But even if you're the type of person that's busy 24/7, quote unquote, I use this quote myself. I'm busy 24/7. You know, that hour that you spent watching YouTube videos by accident, that 30 minutes you're on your phone when you're waking up or before you go to bed where you're scrolling through Facebook, that Game of Thrones marathon that you just did this past weekend, that party, you're in college, you're partying that you just went to last night. Like, you know, it's, of course, don't take out things that you enjoy. Mm-hmm. But if YouTube is one of those things where you think you're going to enjoy it, you are enjoying it, it's something you want to find time for it, you can find time for it.
Exactly.
I think in high school, and during lunch, what I would do is, especially senior year, right? So our seniors got to go to lunch first. Or no, I think it was like certain classes could go to lunch first. So I would like run to the lunchroom, grab my food, hurry up and eat it, unless that particular day I just wanted to chill with some friends. And then I would go to the library, which some of my friends actually went with me to. I'd get on the computer in the library, and I'd be working on something related to YouTube.
Sure.
And my senior year, when they allowed us to have laptops in class, which they allow almost anyone to now. Again, I don't condone not doing your work, but I think there's a lot of YouTubers that get into this that are naturally have some kind of intelligence level that's above stupid, if you get what I'm saying. Like most of them, they're tech savvy. Like they want to be involved with this. They're a nerd. They got something that they're enjoying from this. If you're listening to this podcast, we're nerds. You're a nerd. It's okay. Probably. Yeah. Most likely.
Willing to bet.
And you know,
they're starting younger too.
Right.
That's the thing. When I was a kid,
right.
You know, it's a little bit different than people now in middle school and high school who probably knew a lot more than I did.
Exactly. So
right. And if I could do it, then you definitely can.
So what I'm getting from that is, you know, when you're in class, you probably find that class a little bit easier than most of the other kids in the class, which means you can multitask. Sure. If that's something you're okay with. If you got to make all A pluses, you know, that's great. Do that because that's important to you. And don't do anything in class related to YouTube. But if you're kind of a little more chilled back and you feel like you have a little leeway, especially in that one class that's very easy, you know, work on some thumbnails during class on your laptop. Sure. Do something.
Oh, here's another one. What if it's like one of those classrooms that like don't have, like you can't have a laptop, you can't have a phone out, you can't have anything out? What you could be doing.
Oh, I love this.
What you could be doing. Take that little like notebook out or whatever. And you can be scripting videos. You can be writing. Yes. You can be coming up with ideas.
So true.
If you don't like have time to schedule, hey, there's a whole 2 hours in this class where I can do literally nothing but schedule videos and when they come out. That's like the best time to brainstorm if you're in high school and you're a YouTuber, is when you're in that class where nothing is going on and you're just in your notebook looking like you're paying attention or whatever, and in actuality you're writing down the thing that you really want to do.
Man, I've done this in college. Yeah, sure. I mean, I've just like written down some ideas, written down some schedule stuff.
They don't know what you're writing.
Written down some SEO tags. Like, this is something I've done before, you know, and it's very viable option if you're okay with doing those kind of things.
You can plan whenever. You know? And we'll take it out of college for a while, for a little bit. Somebody we know, Dark Light Dreamer, dude works. Dude is busy. never knows when he gets his schedule, right? It's always like, oh, he's working this time one week and working this time another. The one thing, though, he's noticed is that, like, oh, hey, they're not scheduling me, like, this late, you know? So, like, hey, if I have the whole night to record, oh, look, suddenly there's videos and there's time now, you know? Right? And it's not just, like, even if he has to work late at night, you know, even if he has to, the night before you can get 2 or 3 done if you know ahead of time, right? Like, even if you're surrounded by limitations and surrounded and your time is just taking up on every corner, then, like, every spare second you have, you know, you'll find time.
Yeah. No, I'll go ahead and give this little shout out to Darklight Dreamer here as well, because I can almost guarantee that he's going to listen to this podcast. Where is he going to listen to it? Probably at work. He works a third shift, like, grocery store job. And he listens to, like, because it's third shift and he's stocking and stuff, he's able to listen to podcasts. And I'm sure that this is going to be something that's right down his alley. So even if you can't necessarily directly and work on your actual projects, you can be listening to things, you can be reading about things that are about the topics, which is very important.
You can learn, you can do whatever.
Yeah.
There's always time. There's always time. You know? I hear people like, oh, I have brothers and sisters. Wait till they're asleep.
That's what I had to do. I have brothers and sisters that are rebellious. They wouldn't go to bed till 2 a.m. some nights. Like last summer. So last summer, I'll give you a little more info into my life. I stayed at home. I was going into my junior year of college, and I have 5 younger siblings who stayed up all the time during the summer. I would have to wait till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning some nights for my brother, who was in the same room as me, to go to sleep so that I could record my videos. And here's another thing, another big excuse is the fact that, oh, I don't have internet. Well, I didn't have internet at home either. So the way I uploaded was, well, one, I worked a web development job. So I was able to go to this company and work on web stuff while I was there. And while I was working this job, I was uploading videos. Or what I did before that, and even in high school when I didn't have internet at home for a while, I went to the public library and uploaded my videos then.
All right. McDonald's has
McDonald's. I went to McDonald's a couple times. I went to Bilo, the grocery store that I worked at. Like,
you know,
there's always ways. There's always ways.
There's always a way out there. And even if you don't think there's a way out there, chances are there is, and you're not looking hard enough. Right?
Yeah.
You know,
I want
to. We've listed a couple of exceptions of where, like, there's literally no way, right? But to sort of quote something from the Marines, which I know, like, Marines, YouTube, not really the same thing, but listen, they have what's called the 40% rule, and the idea is that if you're, like, exhausted, if you're at your limits, the Marines will tell you that what you think your limits are, what you think you've reached your max is, that's only 40%. And even though you're tired and exhausted now, you're still able to go for another 60.
Ooh,
you know?
That's good.
Like,
I've never heard that before. I like that.
Right. Like, when you think you're tired, when you think you're exhausted, you're only at 40%. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing, is, like, those limitations, the reasons we think we're exhausted or we're limited, some of them are physical, for sure. But a lot of them are mental, you know?
Oh, yeah.
We mentally think we're worn out. There's nothing we can do. You know, we've reached our limit. But you get a little bit of pushing from somebody, and you'll, you know, kind of be surprised at how far you can go. You know? And if you care about something and if you're passionate about it, there really isn't a limit, you know? There is no 100% for you. Keep going past that. 200, 300, 400, whatever.
Super Saiyan levels,
you know?
of percentages there, you know?
Right. The limit is when you want to stop, you know? It's no longer a matter of, like, how am I going to do this, but just when am I going to stop? You know?
I think it's common. I think it's fair for me to say, this is overgeneralization just a little bit, but I think it's fair for me to say that most of the people who say that time is the problem, they're not the type of people that are overachievers in the first place. So they really haven't reached any level of their max yet. Where for like people like us, I mean, I get called an overachiever at least once a week. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I'm constantly pushing towards what my limit is. And have I reached my limit before? A couple of times. And when you truly do reach your limit of how far you can go, it's a little scary. And it's not the best. It's not the best feeling in the world. But even through those couple of times, all it did was just teach me that, okay, maybe, there was something I could back off on a little bit so that I could push towards that limit again. I think in anything in life, except for alcohol and drugs, you should always, always reach towards your limit.
Right. And that's the thing, to kind of touch back on these excuses in general that we've been listing, is a lot of people simply make up excuses to avoid, real questions, to avoid stuff that they're scared of, to avoid, conflict, whatever.
Absolutely.
They make these excuses because they're like, oh, I need a reason to not want to do it, I need a reason to get people off my back. I need a reason to not want to put in that much effort or that much work, And here's the thing. If you want to put in that effort, if you want to put in that work, if you want to put in that passion, if you want to start a YouTube channel, notice how all those excuses suddenly disappear, It's
gratifying. Extremely gratifying.
What were once solid reasons as to why not to do something suddenly just disappear into vapor.
Right.
They're not even solid again.
I guess
which means they never were to begin with.
Exactly.
Is the deal. Right. They never were big solid walls or excuses. They were to you at the time. But when you really want to do something, none of that matters.
Yeah, I guess just kind of wrapping up the excuses side of things.
Sure.
I don't know about you personally, but I know for me, I've used these excuses before.
Sure.
Money being a thing, was something that I used as an excuse for most of my life because I didn't know any better. Time being a thing was the reason for two instances in my YouTube life here. One instance, I didn't do YouTube for about 4 months, and then the other, I didn't do it for about a month, and then realized how much I hated not doing it. So there's just, man, it's just so much better to ignore the excuses and just do it anyways.
Sure. Exactly. And if you love doing it, you'll do exactly that. You'll push through them. And I've definitely had a lot of those same excuses before and been under that mindset before. But like I said, once I really started loving to do it and wanting to do it on a day-to-day basis, a lot of that faded away. A lot of that suddenly didn't matter anymore. And I encourage you all, if you really want to do it, if you're really interested in doing it, don't let anybody or anything hold you back from doing that. And let's just take it away from YouTube for a second. If you have a creative passion or a dream or something that you want to achieve in life, whether that's success, impacting people, being a professional, doing YouTube, whatever you want to do, don't let anybody or anything get in the way of doing that. Ever.
Agreed.
Ever.
So much truth in that statement.
Do it. The only real limit to not doing it is yourself.
Agreed so much. I mean, it always comes down to yourself. Absolutely.
Right.
I want to go ahead and challenge our listeners and our viewers. If there is a excuse that we didn't bring up that you have, and you can call it excuse, you can call it a challenge, a difficulty for you, some kind of a barrier that's stopping you from doing YouTube, but you want to do it, or somebody says you should do it, or you just feel like maybe there's something there for you. Leave it in the comments on the YouTube video. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, take just an extra moment to go on YouTube, look up the video right quick. It'll be in the show notes. And, leave us a comment saying, this is a 100% reason why I can't do YouTube. And I think we're going to have like a episode every once in a while, maybe every few episodes, where we talk about the comments and just kind of answer some questions like that, because I would love to, if you are really passionate about starting this or wanting to do this, I'd love to talk you into doing it in some way or another.
Sure. Let us be the two Marine officers pushing you past your 40%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Give us the opportunity, and we'll totally do it. If you need that motivation, if you need that push to do it. At the very least, that's something we could do to help out people.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I guess my thing, just for this whole episode in general, if you're, again, given our title question, should you start a YouTube channel in 2017, kind of bringing it back around, the answer for me is yes. If you want to do it, if you're interested in doing it, then do it. And I think if there are people out there who are listening to this and haven't yet, and then they decide to start that YouTube channel after listening to this podcast, let us know.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear about that for sure.
Right.
Very important.
And if we see those people out there who have started their YouTube channel, their YouTube journey, after listening to that, then it might be impactful in how we decide our topics or whatever, right? If we see that there's like a lot of people starting, then we're going to want to, help those people starting, right, in the next episode.
Exactly.
Right. But we got to know.
We need to hear your feedback, hear your responses, hear your voices. It's important. It's imperative to just, overall happiness, really, in general.
Agreed.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and, I guess, doing like a final thoughts for this particular episode, as the introduction to the podcast, by saying, yes, of course you should make a YouTube channel. If you're listening to this, you're considered it, of course you should. And I wanted to go ahead and say exactly why I created a YouTube channel and like a brief little thought, and you can do it as well, Aden. The reason I create videos, the reason I'm on YouTube, is because it's a place that gives me the ability and the freedom to create every single day, to consume the things that I enjoy, and one of the bigger and more important things about me is to be able to help people or interact with people. It's just, those are the things that, those are why I do YouTube, and maybe you also like those certain things. So that's why this could very well be something that you'd want to do.
Sure. For me personally, I'd started plenty of other YouTube channels before that had gone nowhere. But when I started Blue Couch Productions, I was a high school graduate. It was the summer of that year. I didn't have a job. I wasn't planning on going to college. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. It was a very stressful time in life because you're sort of 18, 19, whatever, and you're just expected to like make something of yourself, right? And so the stresses about the future and where I was going and all of this stuff was a lot to handle at the time. But I wanted to try YouTube again, to give it one more effort, to try and make something of myself through it somehow. And in a way, it was sort of almost a distraction from what was going on, from what I was dealing with at the time. It was almost a very selfish reason of doing it. But what ended up happening throughout that is not only did like I get better, did I get to a better spot? Did I go to college? Did I figured out what I wanted to do? I would love to have this YouTube channel 5 years from now. I'd love to be making money from it 5 years from now, whatever. But what ended up happening was that it was no longer about me anymore, and it was about helping my audience. It was, again, about helping the people who were involved in the community. If they wanted me to do something, I would do it. If they had troubles, I would help them. If I had a story to tell, an experience to live, and if I was able to touch somebody or somebody was able to learn from it, that meant the world for me. That meant the world to everything that I did. I was just a guy recording videos in my room. Never did I feel like it would have an impact on somebody other than myself. But now it's the reverse, right? Like, they're the impact. They're the reason I keep going. It has nothing to do with me anymore. I'm in a better place. I could quit Blue Couch Productions. I don't need it. But it's those people. It's my drive to create things. It's my love of making videos. It's wanting to prove myself. It's wanting to help out the people involved. It's all those different things. and I'm continuing to become a better person through it. I'm continuing to learn a lot through it, and I'm continuing to impact others through it. And it's just been like a fun time overall. And I would love for other people to go on similar journeys or to maybe find something different through doing YouTube. And if all they had to do to reach that was simply by wanting to start, then I would love to encourage people to do that.
Yeah, I just kind of putting both of our responses into like a single thing for everybody out there. When you get into doing this kind of thing, content creation online, YouTube specifically, I guess, it's an emotional roller coaster. It'll be exhilarating at points. It'll be absolutely soul crushing at other points. You know, you're going to enjoy yourself and you might cry some nights. You're going to think this is the funnest and easiest thing in the world. And you're going to be like, where do I go now? It's crazy and wonderful at the same time. And if you can be a part of it, that's all the more reason for us to stick around.
Agreed. 100%.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's episode 0.
Yeah.
Should you start a YouTube channel in 2017? Yes, you should.
Yes, do it.
Do it.
And hopefully, too, not only will you do it, but you kind of know what this podcast is about, what we're about, and what we plan to do for the next couple of episodes.
Right.
So, hopefully you guys are hyped. Hopefully you're excited. As always, we'd love to hear your feedback. What did you think about this episode? What did you think about the topic? Are you somebody who's going to start a YouTube channel? Are you one of those people like Zach mentioned who have an excuse or a reason to not doing it? Do you have any suggestions? Do you want to fight us on something? Let us know on whatever platform you can, and we'll try to get back to you.
Yes, and so you can leave those comments in various places. You can leave them on the YouTube channel at Zach Snyder Productions. If you're listening to this on YouTube, it's very easy. You just scroll down and type it in. If you're on Spotify or iTunes or SoundCloud or any other platform that I haven't known about me putting it on here yet, there's a couple of other ways you can do it. You can either find the YouTube channel or you can go to lionshonor.com. There will be a contact section on the website. The website's still in a beta kind of state. It's still got a lot of work to get done on it. However, in that contact page on the website, there will be a certain thing that says, another YouTube podcast responses or questions or comments. You can leave us a little contact form there. And that'll be one of the best places to do that there.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and get into a different couple of ways on how you can help the podcast. You can easily leave a like on the video if you're on YouTube. Like I said, leaving a comment, going and subscribing to the YouTube channel helps not only me, but it also helps Aden. Aden, go ahead and tell them what your YouTube channel is so they can check that out.
Oh, if you want to find me and all the stuff I do, if you found this interesting or enjoyable, you can check me out at Blue Couch Productions on YouTube. I do a variety of different content, including but not limited to Let's Plays, vlogs, reviews, live streams, and other such fun content. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Blue Couch YT. I tweet stuff there occasionally, and I have a bunch of other social media platforms and stuff. A lot of them you can just find it by typing in Blue Couch Podcast. Not that. Blue Couch Productions or Blue Couch YT.
Yeah.
I don't even do a podcast anymore.
Ooh,
I only did 2 episodes.
You should do that.
Yeah.
Podcasts are the future.
They're the future.
They're the future. Yeah. Other ways you can, of course, support is, as I said, subscribing to this channel. I do have a Twitter. I do have Facebook. All that stuff is in the description. I'm not going to bore you with all those details. You can find them there if you're on YouTube. If you're on iTunes, if you're on Spotify, leave us a rating. That'd be awesome. We would love to be on the new and noteworthy podcasts on iTunes. That'd be really dope, right? Mm-hmm. So by leaving us a rating, leaving us a little response on there saying you guys did great or a question or whatever, that'd be cool. Also, every single one of your comments for a little while, we'll be reading them on the air. So that'll be cool. The next episode is going to be next Sunday, August 13th.
Mark it.
And we haven't gotten the exact topic yet, but it's guaranteed to be something around the line of starting your YouTube channel.
Right.
Somewhere around there, starting your YouTube channel. So
it'll probably involve YouTube, guaranteed.
Right. So the first few episodes, The first few episodes will definitely be around the kind of area of early stages of YouTube, kind of getting you used to the platform and the types of content you can make. And then we'll slowly get into more niche areas. We'll talk a lot about gaming. We'll talk a lot about vlogs. We'll talk about, other genres that we're not necessarily acquainted with, but maybe we'll have like a guest or two that we can get on here. We have a lot of different plans for it, and I think it'll be really cool overall.
Sure. And I know this episode was a lot of explaining. I know a lot of it was terms. And I know for some people it might have felt like a lecture or whatever. The goal wasn't exactly to lecture you again. The goal was to try to be entertaining and fun. And if we need to find a better balance of that, we will try to.
Absolutely.
And I hope for the people who already knew all of this stuff, you at least found it entertaining. So hopefully you did.
Or found at least one little thing that you didn't know.
That'd
be awesome. Yeah. That means we did our job tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. That means me being up till 2 a.m. Actually, it'll be later because I got to edit the podcast for tomorrow. Ooh.
Oh, boy.
Gotta find that time. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully you found some kind of value out of this. If you would like to help the podcast monetarily, let's say let's say money is not your excuse in not doing YouTube, and it's something that you've already got. I've got a proposition for you.
Oh boy, the segues.
Oh, the segues. They're good. They're just good tonight. Oh, man.
They're back again.
All jokes aside, I do have a Patreon. It's Zack Snyder Productions. You can go there. It'll be towards the entire Zack Snyder Productions channel, the lions on our website, everything that I'm involved with. And it'll also help me fund not only getting this on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify, because that costs a certain amount of money per month. It'll also help me fund the editing software that it takes to edit this podcast and the recording software it takes to record the podcast. So that would be great if you are interested in helping in some kind of monetary value. And I have new rewards on there, so you can be a part of the podcast. You can be a sponsor of the podcast. This can go in a lot of different ways. Yeah. But I think
a lot of options out there.
I think that's all we've got. If there's anybody out there that you think should be a YouTuber, any friends of yours, any other people that maybe they're just starting YouTube, you want to point them in the right direction, we hope to be those guys.
Yeah, send them our way.
All right.
Hopefully. Anyway, guys, I've been Aden.
I've been Zach.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode of another YouTube podcast. Bye.
Bye.